Yeah. Microphone. Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey everyone, it's Fox from Model Making Guru here. Hello, hopefully you can all see me and hear me. Okay, I'm having issues with my chair. Hang on, hang on. There we go, it's better. Hello, welcome, welcome. Yes, hopefully you can all see me and hear me, okay? Welcome to GUNPLA TIEMZ. I just suddenly realised I may as well set up some stuff for live streaming when I'm doing Gunplas. And I'm really close in there, that's really weird. Oh well. Because I'll probably do, there's a lot of times when I'm doing Gunpla and I get to the point where I'm painting something, I'm doing, say, dry brushing or decals or de-nubbing, and it's really, really tedious and boring and it takes hours and hours and I get bored, I've got low attention span. And I thought, you know what? I'll just stream it. But I'll set up little pre-rolls and stuff because I'll do it as a series every now and then. Every time I'm doing a Gunpla and I get to the boring bit, I'll do some live streams. Now, today we're going to be working on the Sazabi, yeah, this thing. Now, if you remember, it is a Patreon exclusive build. However, the actual video build videos are Patreon exclusive, so if you want to see them you have to join my Patreon, patreon.com/model making guru. There you go, nice plug. But these live streams, I'll just make them available for everybody, because the whole point of me doing these live streams is to get people to talk to while I'm sitting here for 6 hours doing this, because it gets really boring. So yes, welcome, welcome. I'm going to put some gloves on in a minute because we're going to be doing dry brushing and slapping on shades and things today. But yeah, I'm just going to be sitting here for a few hours while I do some work on the armour. I'll move that out of the way and I'll show you what we're doing. I'll move that out of the way and then try and find somewhere to put it. That's the other part of that sentence. Right, there we go. Today we are going to be working on the armours. Now I've got all the armour base coaters. I've got lots of yellow armour here. You can see this is yellow. There you go. And I've also got all the red armour. That's still in the sorting trays, but I'll get to that later. What we're going to do today, or what my task is for today, is to first and foremost get it all shaded. So using a shade, darken it all down. You've seen me do the post shading before. Get it all shaded, darken it all down, and then we'll be bringing it back up with dry brushing. Now I estimate this will take me probably weeks, well not weeks, but take me days. So we're going to make a start today. I will be doing multiples of these streams because it's going to take me a long time and I need the company, because it's really boring just doing something. I mean, making models is fantastic, but when you've got something that takes you days and days and it's just not very, like doing post shading, it's not that interesting. It's not hard, it's tedious. So I'm counting on you guys. It'll be a regular stream, so as always, if you're watching this, the live chat is here. If you're watching this and you want to join in the live chat, please do. I will give some stickers away later on, as always. And I might go on after dinner. I'm going to stop at about 6 o'clock for me dinner, because food, it's survival, first order of the day. But I'll probably come back after dinner. I don't think anybody has any streams on a Wednesday night, do they? If you're in chat, let me know, remind me. If nobody has any streams on a Wednesday night, I'll carry on. Well, if nobody of any importance has any streams, I don't want to cut over any, but I know Chris's is tomorrow. I can't think of any others. Let me know. I've probably forgotten. I don't remember anything, me. Yeah, we'll carry on as normal. So if you want to join in the live chat, please do. Make sure if you're watching this on Ello or Facebook or Patreon or anywhere else where I embedded the video, just click on the YouTube link in the post, or there's a little YouTube icon down here in the bottom right hand corner of the player somewhere. Click on that, it'll take you to the YouTube page where you can join in the live chat and have fun, because as I say, the whole point of this stream and these streams to come is that you guys can keep me company. I know you're all at work and it's a random time to do it, but as I do these over the coming days, I'll probably do them at random times anyway. Try and catch as many people, because not everybody is out at work, because not everybody's in the UK. As always, we've still got the Stream Boss battle going. You know how that works. Do your super chats and do your tips. Tip is there. Tip jar is streamlabs.com/model making guru, and super chats in the chat. The more you put through as a super chat or a tip, the more of Kevin or Cy Reynolds' health you take off. And if you get him to 0, if you're the one that gets him to 0 and unseats him as the stream boss, you become the stream boss and you win a big fat budget to spend at Games Workshop or Forge World or Goblin Gaming, depending on where you are in the world. And all the money raised through tips and super chats goes towards the budget that you get when you win. So you know how that works. So yes, today we're going to be doing some armour. We've got all the armour base coated. As I say, the red stuff is all in the sorting tray, so I'll get that if I need it. But today we're going to be working on starting off with the yellow armour. Now, what I've basically done is when I got all the armour ready, you've seen, if you're on Patreon, you've seen the videos. I have done pretty much most of the painting on the inner frame. I can't show you the legs because they're too big, but we've got some inner frame parts here. I've got no inner frame parts. Okay, I've got 2 inner frame parts. There we go. A bit of a shield going on. So we've got some inner frame parts. Now, the painting on the inner frame is kind of done. Now, if you remember, I'm actually making this into a fixed pose build, so everything is glued in place and fixed in place. So I've been able to pre-assemble some bits and bobs. So we've got all the base colouring done on the inner frame. Now, there's tons to do. Now, if you're not familiar with this isn't just going to be a Sazabi. This is going to be not only a Shanghai Dragons Sazabi, because this is a Patreon reward bill for George, as said in the chat. It's a Patreon reward bill for George, because he's one of my top tier patrons, and he loves the Shanghai Dragons Overwatch team, the esports Overwatch team. So this is going to be painted not only in a Shanghai Dragons colour scheme to look like Diva's mech, even though it doesn't look anything like Diva's mech, it's also going to be given a Borderlands paint style. So it's going to be painted in the livery of Shanghai Dragons, but in the style of Borderlands, because George also likes his video games and Borderlands looks fantastic. So if you're thinking the paint job looks a bit shonky, it's meant to. It's meant to have a very specific look. I've used paints and washes and some of the contrast paints from Citadel very specifically to get a sort of watercolory, slightly comic booky style. The advantage is it means I can work fast because I'm not spending 6 weeks working on each component, but it does give this kind of, well, like here you can see this kind of patchiness here. That's intentional because I want that kind of watercolour style, because when everything's been painted and all the decals are on, one of the last steps will be to do all the ink outlining, which is going to take me weeks, but all the ink outlining for all the edges and everything else. I've got the inks to do it. So the inner frame is pretty much painted. There's still stuff to do on it, but for the most part, everything is now done aside from that ink outlining and some weathering and other bits and bobs that will come later. So the inner frame is done. So the next step now, once the frame is done, is to get all the armour painted up. So I've pre-painted armour parts. I've basically got 2 colour schemes. It's red and yellow, the two colours for the armour. And I'll come through the chat in a minute, don't worry. So red and yellow. So I've got a big load of chunks of yellow parts, and of course I have all the red parts. So I took all the armour parts and I primed them in Citadel Mephiston Red. There's one for Dad. Dad's ears just pricked up. Citadel Mephiston Red, because most of it's going to be red, and I may as well use a primer that's the colour I'm going to use anyway. So there you go. And then for the yellow armour, what I did was I quite simply then primed over, because it would have been primed in red. I primed over with Citadel's Grey Seer. Both of those are rattle cans, and it means I can get quite thin primer coats. So I wasn't worried about painting Grey Seer primer over red Mephiston Red primer, because it wouldn't be a thick coat. And once that primer was on, all the bits that are going to be yellow, I then airbrushed over with Avalanche Sunset. And this is an airbrush coat of Avalanche Sunset, because I wanted it to just, A, to be quick, and B, to look nice. Now, I could have, of course, airbrushed the Mephiston Red on the red armour, but there's no point because there's a Mephiston Red primer, so I may as well just use that. There's no point priming it a colour and then painting over it Mephiston Red. Now, if you're wondering why I just didn't use the rattle can for Avalanche Sunset, it's because there isn't one anymore. They've cancelled it. They've got rid of it. So I had to airbrush that. So I mixed up some paint yesterday. So that's been done. So all the yellow bits are now painted. All the red bits are now painted. There are some bits you can see here that haven't been touched yet. That's because these are going to be different colours. This is not going to be red or yellow. This is going to be on the figure I've got, because it's going to be a 20-foot tall mech, not a 30-metre tall mobile suit. It's going to be done up in a Borderlands style, and these are going to be made out to look like some sort of like mortars or little rockets. So rockets equals Torg in Borderlands. So this is going to have like a black and white checker pattern on there, and these will be red. It's going to look mint. I don't know how I'm going to paint that, but I've committed to it. And I've done some funky things like the leg here. If you look on Diva's mech, the front of the leg is red and the back of the leg is yellow. Of course, on the kit we've got here, it actually goes down the middle, front and back. It doesn't go down the middle, side to side. So I've masked off the red. Under there's red, masked that off, and I've sprayed over the yellow there. So that needs to get that masking off as well. So the first step we need to do is bring some life to the armour, and that is post shading. You've seen me do it before, where I take a flat colour, I put a shade on it to darken it down, I then dry brush the flat colour, the base colour back again, and then dry brush some highlight colours. We're going to do that on the red, and we're going to do that on the yellow armour, and that's how I'll get a post shading effect. And then there's lots of chipping to do and weathering and decals and everything else. So hopefully, despite what people were saying in chat earlier on, I might get something done today. So I'm going to have a quick look at chat first before we get going. Thank you to everyone who is here. I appreciate that you got like 5 minutes notice. But hey, that's the idea of this stream. I will be doing a number of these because, as I said, I've got a lot of stuff on this build that's going to be just tedious, repetitive work, and I'd rather have some people to hang out with while I do it. Also, it forces me to get to the bench, because when I get faced with tedious work, I can sit there and I can be like, oh, do I want to do this? But of course I want to do this because it's George's build, and it's not like I don't want to do it, but I have to motivate myself. I'm hard to motivate. So in chat, I missed out I'm not on live chat, that's why. I missed out the first few messages, but the first one I have on here is Chris at Gross Models. I have work to do. I'll pop back in a bit. Welcome, Chris. Hopefully he's back already. Dad, of course, is in. Another one of your mods. Chris and Dad are two of your mods. Dad is in. Hi, Dad. Hope you're doing well. And Cy Kevin Reynolds, who is our current stream boss there. You see, it says model making guru, but it's not. It's Cy. It's just I screwed it up and pressed the wrong button. Kevin is your current stream boss. He's one of your mods as well. Thy Creator is in. Welcome, Thy Creator. Dad is decorating at the daughter's house at the moment. Decorating. Don't talk to me about decorating. I'm never going to do that ever in my life if I can avoid it. I've done it once and I hated it. Jishan F, this stream came at the perfect time. Now I can ignore and install status bar. Welcome, Jishan. Cy Reynolds is saying to Dad, pop round after. I'm shockingly bad at hanging wallpaper. The missus has been on at me for months. George is in. George Gabriel, for whom I am building this Sazabi. He says, I'm at work, but as Chief Delegation Officer, I can delegate it to others. Good girl. I like that logic. Paul Di Tommaso is in. Welcome, Paul. Snowman HFC sounds like something from Blade Runner, talking about the mellow music at the start. I decided to go for mellow tunes. It's mellow stuff. And no, it's not all YouTube music. Let's have a look. Paul Di Tommaso. Oh, happy birthday, Paul. It was Paul's birthday yesterday or today? I think it was yesterday. Might have been today. Apologies if I get it wrong. Happy birthday, Paul. George asks if he had a bouncy castle. Which is good, because if I remember rightly, Americans call them bounce houses or bouncy houses or something. So you're living up to your honorary Brit status, Paul. He says no, he didn't. He's a kid at heart, but he's not that young. Dad's asking if I've got one of them little snazzy button things like Chris has got to put in the little comments in the chat and stuff. No, I haven't got enough USB. So I've only got two working USB sockets on my computer. The other ones have got things like mice and graphics tablets and things stuck in. So yeah. I can do manual, it's not a big problem. Who else do we have in? Beyblade Beyblade Master XX is in. Hi guys, welcome Beyblade Master. Raging Bassist is in. How is everyone? Because I'm in tremendous good mood. Welcome Bassist, not seen you for a while. Paul Di Tommaso says he needs to win the lotto. We all need to win the lottery, dude. Raging Bassist says, I wish, because Dad asked him if he won the lottery, I got a new job as a pastry chef on days. Yes, nice one. Congratulations, dude. Thank you. I got sick of doing hardly any desserts, getting my hours cut, so I work in a garden centre restaurant. Oh, yeah. Is that a Y-Vale by any chance? Because their food is fantastic. Well, it used to be. Maybe you can change it back again. Let's have a look. Red, woohoo, says Dad, because I mentioned Mephiston Red. Not so average builder. Fox, how are you, my friend? I am absolutely fine, thank you. Not so average builder. How are you? John Bias is in. Hey, John. See, this is the other reason I like to do like funny time streams on work days, because it means that other people in different time zones can have a chance to get in. And as I do these, I might do some in the morning, you know, if I actually get out of bed and, you know, get up and ready in time, because I'm not that organised. But I might do some in mornings. I might do some in the evenings. Like I say, after dinner tonight, as long as I'm not going to be stepping on anybody else's streams, I might do another one later on. So I've got a lot of stuff to do that I can hang out with. Let's have a look. Raging Bassist, Model Making Guru, where is your affiliate link for Goblin Gaming? It's in the description below the video. Just a quick shout out, of course, by the way. You did get the thing at the start, but my channel is supported obviously by my patrons on Patreon who support me financially, and I love them to bits. They are the most awesome people in the universe. Thank you to all my patrons. I love you to bits. I will have your babies. Even if it's just $1 a month, I'll have you babies. But I'm also supported by two businesses, emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. They're the traditional model making suppliers, so your trains, planes, military stuff, kits, tools, equipment, all that kind of stuff for the traditional model making. Go to emodels.co.uk, link in the description below the video. And also I am supported by Goblin Gaming, who are the one-stop shop for all your tabletop gaming needs. And I don't just mean Warhammer, they've got Malifaux, they've got Conflict 47, they've got Pokemon, they've got Magic the Gathering, they've got Catan, they've got tabletop games and proper tabletop games. So they get 20% off Games Workshop, Malifaux and Conflict 47, 20% off RRP, and massive savings on everything else. And eModels have massive savings on all their stock as well. So both links for both of those are in the description below. If you want to go to Goblin, use the link that is in the description below. That's my specific affiliate link. And if you use that, then I actually get a little bit of income every time you order using that link. So if you want to go to Goblin, check out, use that link. Save yourself a big wad of cash and help this channel out a little bit at the same time. So there you go. Oh, Dad did post the link up. There you go. Thank you, Dad. I'm confused. I'm notified it's Warhammer Sunday, but it's not Sunday or Warhammer. That's YouTube being broken because it's not a Warhammer Sunday. It doesn't have the Warhammer Sunday written on it. I don't know why it did that. Hey, Spid, by the way, can't hang about, but welcome for popping in. Popping into my work to get my tips, and I want another reason for getting what will be about £10, so figured going to Goblin with a good great excuse. Yeah, because you'll save 20% off GW stuff. A raging bassist asks, Dad asks if he's up north, and he says, yep, not far from Northwich. Oh, there you go then. What you can do is pop into the actual physical store and just read out my link to them, my affiliate link. I wonder if that'll work. Say, hey, before I buy that, I've got this link here. It's goblingaming.com/tab, and it's like, so can Fox have some money now? Thanks. It probably won't work. George says, bring it to life. That's what I'll be doing, hopefully. People are talking about travelling. I haven't slept in 2 days, says Beyblade Master. Then, dude, you need to sleep. Because if you don't sleep, it's not bad. It is bad for you, but if you don't sleep, you feel like ass. Let's have a look. Raging Bassist says, it's Wyvale, or as it's known, Tarpley. Wyvale, yes, we go to, my local Wyvale is in, obviously in Timperley, and we go there, and the food is good. They used to have a fantastic kitchen, but then they reorganised it, and now they've got stupid menus on clipboards that nobody can ever. You walk in and you can't find the menu anywhere because it's not behind the wall. You can't see. You have to wander around and look for someone who's got the clipboard so you can see what you want to buy. And in the thing where they had all the hot dishes, like, you know, sausage and whatever the meals of the day were, it's just cakes now, which is not bad. But then you can't see there's no like carvery section there used to be. But the food is fantastic. Fantastic. If you've got a Wyvale garden centre near you, go and check it out. Especially if you're at Wyvale and Tarpley, because then that's where Raging Bassist works, and that'll be awesome food. Not so average builder says, yep, I tend to miss Warhammer Sunday because I hear in the States I'm stuck working during that time, but I still try and sneak on while I'm at work, but it doesn't always work out. Ah, well. Thank you for coming in anyway. Tim L is in. Welcome. Hey, Tim. Hello, Fox and everyone, he says. Right, Space Hamster. Hey guys, good timing with the stream. I just got home and I've got stuff on my bench. And Kevin Sharma. Good morning from the west coast of Canada. Hang on. I know Paul's in and stuff, but I love Canada. I've never been there. Probably never will. But I just love it because I have to. It just sounds awesome. Everybody knows I love Canada. Anyway, should we do some work? So, Robert Taylor says, hey, how do you become an honorary Brit? That's to George. George is an honorary Brit. Well, I mean, first of all, he's got like the Union flag tattooed on him somewhere, I think. But he knows how to use like British swear words to a certain degree. He knows how to do some Britishisms without prompting from us. So he kind of figured it out. So we made him an honorary Brit. Thank you, A, says Kevin Sharma. At least said good day then, but that's not Canada at all, is it? Right, should we do some work? So today, yes, we're going to be doing some post shading. So welcome to all of you. If you normally watch my Warhammer stuff, this is obviously not Warhammer. Oh, ow. It's time for the inspection. Bend over. Oh. Now, as always, this is nothing to do with any eModel streams, if you watch the eModels Monday stuff. So you are allowed to use big, rude, grown-up words in chat if you wish. I need to blow my nose. Now I put my gloves on, then I need to blow my nose. Fantastic. You're allowed to use big boy words. I don't care. I'm not going to do swear words out loud. because monetization. Excuse me. But you can use swearing if you want to in chat. I don't care. We're all grown-ups here. I don't care. I miss, let's have a look. I miss Warhammer Sundays as it's Sunday late night here, and every Monday is early start for the kids to head off to school. There you go. Rude word incoming, says bassist bottom. Right, so for some reason, hello, something's just turned up at the front door. Let me just see if it's for me. I could do a sudden unboxing. Hang on. Is that for me or you? Oh, boring. Parcels turned up at the front door. Well, they're not for me. They're for Mama Fox. I'm like, is it for me or you? For me. Boring. I don't know. It's boring when parcels for other people turn up. When parcels turn up for me, it's fantastic. Right. So yeah, these gloves are great, but for some reason this finger never. It's too long. Kevin Reynolds says, wait, there's another Kevin in chat. I am mighty confused. Hang on. Oh, yeah, Kevin Sharma, of course, yeah. Now, you see, Simon, see, Kevin Sharma is Canadian, so you got some competition there. I don't know. Right, swig of coffee. The moment the gloves go on, it's a sneeze in the door. Ha, better get cracking, says Tim. Yeah, pretty much. I've got to blow my nose again. It's really warm for some reason, even though it's cold. Started the day with the heating on. Turn on these lights and now it's like tropical sunrise. I'm like, thanks. Wow, that's really helpful. Have a quick look at the health of the stream. Make sure we're streaming okay. Yes, got a few drop frames, but nothing major. Hopefully you can all see and hear me okay. So, anyway, today's plan. Shading. I'll just move this Canadian flag out of the way. It's getting messy times. I'm knocking things all over. So the first step in doing this post shading. Normally you do pre-shading, but because I've got things peeing off sticks. Because I'm doing a lot of brush painting on this, I didn't do pre-shading. Also because I was using rattle cans where it's very hard to pre-shade anyway. So post-shading is the order of the day. Which basically means doing the base coat paint first and then add shading a different way to normal. So let's get something done. So we're going to do a wash of Agrax Earthshade over these yellow parts. We're going to use Agrax Earthshade on the red parts as well, purely because it's not as dark and stark. It doesn't need to be quite a... Where's the other leg? Is it on the other... Where's my... Hang on, I've got one thigh. That doesn't seem biologically correct. Where's the other thigh? Where's my other thigh? I knew a girl once where you'd have no doubt where the other thigh was. You would know where it was. Right, I've lost a leg somewhere. Give me a minute. Hang on. Right, where are you? God damn it. Yeah, is this leg? There it is. Yes. Hurrah. So first thing I want to do is take this masking off. Because say the red and the yellow, they're both going to have the same shade. So it doesn't matter if these are together. Now, one thing you're going to notice is that I am not, or as much as possible, I'm going to avoid. I'm also going to hope this comes off without taking the paint off. I'm going to avoid. It's stuck to my finger. I'm going to try and I'm going to finish the goddamn sentence. I'm going to try not to get any shade on the inside of anything, like on the inside of joints and things like that. For one very good reason. This obviously needs to go back together again when it's all painted and weathered and stuff. And as you all know, Bandai Gunpla kits, or any Bandai kit, is very, very beautifully made. They are... Oh, hey, Kenneth's in. Hey, Kenneth. Good morning all, especially Dad and Fox, says Kenneth. Welcome, Kenneth. More than welcome, buddy. G'day, bro. Sit down, mate. Yeah, the engineering tolerances on these, they're incredible. So they fit together beautifully. So it doesn't take much paint in a joint or on a connection point to really make it hard to get things to go together. It doesn't take much at all. And I'll just take that off for the moment. There we go. It can go wrong quite fast. You know, you can you can do a little bit of something on the inside, even just like a reasonable coat of airbrush paint, and all of a sudden your parts they really don't want to fit together, and you're having a nightmare. But the risk then is that when you do get them to, if you kind of force them a little bit to go together, the risk is that bang, you've now put them under pressure and something has cracked or snapped or broken after you've spent a long time painting that part. So if you're wondering what all this blue fuzz on the tape is, by the way, it's because I got the tape on my jeans to de-tack it first of all. This is the red is Mephiston Red Rattle Can. Now that's a lacquer primer from Citadel. The yellow is Avalanche Sunset, which is just their regular acrylic paint. So I am being careful taking the tape off. If you notice when I'm taking it off, I'm pulling it back on itself. I'm not pulling it up. I'm not pulling it 90 degrees. I'm pulling it back on itself. That helps reduce the shear forces and helps reduce the risk of pulling any paint off. But yeah, the yellow is very delicate, so that's why I'm wearing gloves primarily. Is A, I'm going to get messy, but B, I don't want to be scratching and taking the paint off. It doesn't matter too much if I do, because I will be doing lots of paint chipping and stuff later, but I want to try and minimise it if I can. And although the red might be reasonably durable, the yellow, being a namby-pamby water-based acrylic that I airbrushed on, will be like delicate like the morning sun. So yeah, this is so satisfying. Taking masking tape off is one of the few pleasures in model making that just makes you just go, yes, I'm looking forward to that. In a way, you dread it because you don't want anything to go wrong, but at the same time, when it works and it comes off and you're like, yes, huge success, it's the best feeling. Hey Kenneth, you're awake. Wow, says Dad. Doodle doodle doo, doodle doo doo. They are the tweezers I got you, aren't they, says Kenneth. Yes, they certainly are, Kenneth. I freaking love these tweezers. And he swore that. I freaking love these tweezers. They are fantastic. They only get used for delicate things. I don't go in like for just jamming things in. I've got some rough and ready tweezers for the dirty work. But for these, for like delicate work like this, they're really, really nice. And I didn't realise, you cheeky thing. Kenneth got me these. I didn't realise until afterwards that they're God hand tweezers. Because I was like, oh, Ken sent me some tweezers, they're really nice of him. And then I was like, wait, these are God hand tweezers. Kenneth, you're a very naughty boy, but thank you very, very much. They are brilliant. I love them. So they get all the duties where tweezing is required, but not in an aggressive, scruffy working class way. When I need to do posh tweezering like this. Because they've got this fantastic grip. All my other tweezers have got really pointy grips, but they've become unaligned. You get tweezers where the 2 points go together, and after a while they go like that, and you're like, I can't grab anything. But these are rigid and firm. Ooh, matron. So there you see. So we've got now. This is one of the upper thighs, which, as I said, in the colour scheme of the Shanghai Dragons, is red on the front and yellow on the back. Now this is Avalanche Sunset. It's not quite the final yellow colour. The final yellow will be a bit brighter than this. It's just the base colour down. But you get the idea now. It's going to be yellow and red. So I need to put this back on a stick. Things on sticks. It's how things work. Things on sticks. Da, 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 da. That's one. You watch, we'll do a 3-hour show and it'll be like, I'll just have taken this masking off and that'll be it. They're great for getting hairs off models when painting, says Kenneth. Yes, these are. I've used them for that as well. Do you know, I could do painting in a complete clean room environment with the best industrial air filters and everything, and it wouldn't matter. You'd still have, when you come to the final steps of your build, you'd still find a hair or an eyelash in the paint. So you'd be like, oh, you little, oh, there'd be one. No matter how careful you were, even if I wore a spacesuit all the time, get off. Let's get off. Get off. There'd still be a hair in there somewhere. It's always a hair. Wow, McDonald's Sazabi. Yes, red and yellow. I should have really prepared a picture of the mech so you can see, because not all of you will know what. I mean, just if you look up Shanghai Dragons Diva mech, you'll see. Now there is a little bit of paint come off there, tiny little white speck, but you know what? I'm not bothered because I'm not 100% sure it's a spare chip. It might just be something on the paint. But also, I'm going to do weathering. You're never going to see that, so that's fine. But yes, this yellow just makes me want cheeseburgers quite a lot. That came off a lot easier than the other one. I don't quite know why. So that's that one. We'll put that there. Just squidge that in there so it goes in. Oh, crack. Didn't like the sound of that. Yeah, don't be making cracking noises at me. Made me nervous then. Right, so that's in there. Cool. That's ready. Oh no, it's very loose. Oh, you know. Get in. When I push you into blue tack, it's because I want you to stick to the blue tack. There you go. Just about. It'll do. That'll do, donkey. They're not fully pushed together, these two, anyway, because I need to get these apart again when I build the final armour setup. So, right, have a quick squiz at the chat. It's 10:37 PM Wednesday night here in Singapore, says Tim L. So a chance to hear Fox's voice and say hello to everyone. Well, saying hello to everyone is nice. I wouldn't say you should go out your way to listen to my voice. Oh, it's kind of torture. Let's have a look. Good morning all. That's Kenneth earlier on. Also, it's supposed to be 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 38 degrees centigrade here in the southeast today, Fox. I am living that tropical heat, says Not So Average Builder. It's not actually, well, it's actually cool outside. It's just, I don't know why it suddenly got warm in here, but there you go. I mean, it gets warm when I turn all the lights on. Is it sensual for you, Dad, seeing the Mephiston red undressed, says Kenneth M. Dad likes his Mephiston red. And he said, Dad says, lol. Weather is average, tropical so average, 35 degrees C, says Tim. Nights can get cool depending. End of the year is normally monsoon season, so things drop to 22 degrees centigrade sometimes. The weird thing is, and this is something I was reading about earlier this year when it was the hot summer time, was that we always complain over here in the UK because we don't often get like a hot spell. So when we do get a hot day, a couple of hot days or something like that, we don't really know what to do and we can't cope with it. But I read an interesting thing on a scientific website that was kind of saying that if you live in a climate, because people were saying 30 degrees, that's nothing, we get that every day all the way through the year. And I was reading a thing that says if you live in a climate where you're constantly in a hot weather scenario, or you're more used to it, the human body, over time, the human body does acclimatise. I'm just getting things off the sponge here. The human body does acclimatise and get used to it. So that, you know, after a few months of living in a hot tropical climate, you don't actually have trouble getting to sleep, or you even sweat less, because your body reaches a balance and figures out how to control it, how to sort of balance everything. Whereas if you get usually cold weather and then bam, suddenly one day you get massive hot thing for a week, your body doesn't have time to acclimatise to that, and it doesn't really know what to do. So that's why we just completely fall apart when it goes warm for a day, because we don't get weeks and weeks and weeks to get used to it. Right, let's do some shading. Shady-tacular. Do. Now this is going to be the easy bit. This is going to be slap it on. Now if this was Chris's stream, he has a button that does that for him. I don't have a button that does that, so I just have to go slap it on. So this isn't going to be delicate or careful at all. I just need to get, I'm going to use Agrax Earthshade, which is a brown shady tone. I need to make sure I shake it properly. Don't want it to be glossy. Not true, Fox. I take a walk down to shops and I sweat just like a shower, says thy creator. Really? Wow. I mean, I do that anyway. So the weird thing is, I've noticed as I get older, you know, when I was a younger lad, I used to just, you know, I'd go out the house, go to the shops or whatever, I'd go out somewhere. Sai says, for those wondering, this is the Diva suit Fox is aiming for, kind of mash up in. Then he posts a link to, I assume, a photograph of Diva's mech. Yeah, it's basically a mech in Overwatch, and my entire plan here is to, here's how it's going to work. It's going to be painted in similar colour schemes, so it's going to be reds and yellows. And I'm matching, as best I can, where I can, matching which bits are red and which bits are yellow. So, for example, like you saw on the upper thighs there, The front is red and the back is yellow. The actual armour on the Sazabi doesn't match the mech at all. It's nothing like it, but there are some similarities. All the front parts of the foot, for example, will be yellow. Right, I think this is mostly empty now. Let's just get a different bottle of Agrax Earth Shadings. Agrax Earth Shade! So I'm really just following the rough pattern. So for example, all the little sort of the circular parts on the sides of the knees and the elbows, they'll be painted red. Because if you look on Diva's mech, they're red. So I'm following it a bit. Now what we're doing here is I'm getting the shade on there. Now if you know your Warhammers, you know that shades are designed to go into recesses and make the dark areas darker and tint a little bit the flat areas. Now I'm not actually doing that the way you would normally do a shade here. First of all, I'm trying to be careful not to get it inside because, as I said before, I don't want to jam up any connection points. But also, the way I'm using the shade is purely, yes, I want it to go into the recesses to do a bit of sort of panel lining for me, but also I need it just to darken down. So then I can come back with the dry brush of the lighter colours or the base colours, and that'll look fantastic. So I'm not doing it like you would a shade, really. I'm just darkening it down, so I'm not slapping it on quite as much as I would normally. Although I am kind of slapping it on. So this is the bit of the ankle armour. So we'll just slap it on. Do. I have to tell you as well, airbrushing with Citadel paints it's a pain in the butt to actually have to mix them because they are so thick. So you've got to get the thickness and the viscosity right. But to airbrush with them, they are brilliant. I don't know about the air paints they do because I've never tried any of those. But to mix them down and airbrush with them, they go on beautifully. And it doesn't take much at all to get a nice coat. So you can see there that looks messy AF. That looks horrible. You've got these patchy bits and stuff. Don't care. Don't care. We're going to go over this with dry brushing later on to bring back the highlight. So I don't mind if it looks patchy and splotchy. I've got no problem with that at all. Don't care. I just want to get the darkness. And now I'm getting flashbacks to that game. Early Xbox game that was not that bad. It wasn't that bad. Now, I don't really know which bit of the inside of this can be seen. What I'm going to be actually doing, to keep things safe, like I said, I'm not going to be putting shade on the inside areas. However, if any of the inside armour does end up being visible, I have a plan for that later on. There will be something going on the inside of the armour parts to make it look dusty and dirty, but not something as thick as a shade. I'll be using a totally different product for that. So this is really just for the outside armour. And this is not weathering. I'm not doing this as a dirt or dust layer. I'm doing this to create the shadows. What you would do with pre-shading, if you don't know what pre-shading is, let's say you're going to paint a tank or a vehicle of some sort and it's going to be green. What you might do is you might prime it in white or grey, and then with an it's rattle kind of airbrush, and then you get your airbrush and you go over all the panel lines and recesses and corners with a dark colour, like a dark grey, like say Tamiya rubber grey or something like that. And you'll just focus little lines on the panel lines. You'll go over them to create like a line of shadow. And then what you do, again with your airbrush, is you would then go over, spray over with your base colour, whatever that would be, green or red or blue, whatever you want to paint it. However, you would do it, you build up the colour in a very thin light mist coat, and you build it up slowly, because what you want to do when you're doing a proper pre-shade is you start with a mistily applied base colour that's transparent because it's a thin layer, and therefore you can still see those little shade lines that you've put on the model for a long time. If you put too many layers on and do layer after layer after layer and build the colour up, you'll eventually cover up those shadow lines. But what you do is you angle so that the shade and shadow is, I've got a tickly nose, is still visible, through the paint. You focus your paint on the centre of panels and less on the outside of the panel, on the edges of the panels, and you end up with a shading effect around ridges and panels and recesses. Now, because I'm doing brush painting, I can't do that. And I'm using rattle cans as well. I have used some airbrush, but because I'm mostly using rattle cans and brush painting, I don't have that option. So instead, we're doing post shading, which is adding the shadow later. Now you could, if you were skilled enough with an airbrush, you could just go in and, oh, I need to, hang on, I've got a real tickly nose, give me a second. Yeah, I think it's a moustache hair pointing up and tickling my nostril. Hang on, I need to, it's really, it's making my eyes water. Hang on. There we go. Either that as a creature in there. Yeah, so you could, if you wanted to do post shading, you can go in with an airbrush, and in the same way that you would with pre-shading, you do all your dark lines around the panels and edges, you could do the same thing, but you've already painted your base coat on, so trust me, it's really, really hard to do that. It's really, really hard to do it and do it well, because if you miss with it, you've got to repaint it. Whereas pre-shading doesn't matter, you just cover that up. What we're doing here is we're going to make everything darker. We're going to make everything into the shadow layer because we're brush painting. I'm not going to go into this recess here in that grill because that's going to be a different colour later on, so I'm not fussed about that. Yeah, we're making everything darker. So we've got this Avalanche Sunset base coat, and then we're going to darken it down with this shade. If it's patchy, that's fine because we want it to, it's going to be weathered, so we want it to look uneven and patchy. That's not a problem. It also has a double purpose of going into all the recessed panel lines and doing a little bit of a recessed panel line shade. You know, like a pin wash. There we go. So it looks patchy. That looks patchy, and I've got too much on there. I don't want it to pool up anywhere. But there you go. That's fine. But that's going to be fine because we're going to do some funky things with that. So we're going to make everything darker, and then we'll bring it back. We'll bring back the light areas. And in the same way, with an airbrush pre-shade, you would concentrate your spraying of the base colour. After you've done the darks, stripes and lines, you concentrate the painting and build up the layers in the centre of panels and less on the outside to keep the shadows. We're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to be dry brushing the base colours back on and then highlight colours as well, but we're going to focus them more towards the centre of panels and away from the edges so that we get that kind of post-shade effect where the panel lines and certain areas are a little bit darker, and it's a nice soft blend between the two because we've done dry brushing. So you get highlights and lowlights that way, and it's just another way of doing it. Now it does take some skill because dry brushing can give you a very rough surface depending on what you're dry brushing onto. So it's not like it's a no-brainer. It does take some thought, but it's nowhere near as complicated as doing it with an airbrush. Look at me actually doing work, I know, it's weird, isn't it? So I'm not going inside. I'll sort those out later if I have to. There's going to be lots of chipping, and this is going to be heavily weathered. The irony is that when me and George were talking about this, and I was saying we'll do a Shanghai Dragons Sazabi, because he loves Shanghai Dragons. Shanghai Dragons were kind of the worst team in the league. They were absolute pants and not very good. So it was like, well, what I'll do is I'll do it weathered and beaten up. And George was like, yeah, do it weathered and beaten up because they're not very good and they get beaten all the time. So make it look knackered. Except once I actually started the paint job and started proper work on this, they won, and it's like, oh, so they're not the underdogs anymore. But hey, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's all good fun. Now, the thing is, it's not just going to be this mobile suit that I'm building. The actual finished model will include a very, very simple diorama. It's just a base with, it's not like a you know, setting, scenery or anything, but it'll just be a very simple diorama for it to stand on. So a display base, basically, with a bit of something painted on it. A couple of props and a figure. I'll show you that in a minute. You've seen it before, I think. I'll get these few bits done, then we'll have a look at the chat, and then I'll show you the figure. Now you'll see here how the other fin funnel pod was already assembled. Remember, this is going to be like a mech, so what are actually fin funnels on my model, they're going to be like guided rockets or mortars or something, explosive ordnance. The other one was assembled, that's all glued together. This one is all loose because this one is going to only have one fin funnel in it, or one mortar, let's call it. The other two are going to be in the diorama because what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a kind of workshop feel to it. It's going to be made to look like it's in for maintenance, because it's going to be battered and beaten, and in the Borderlands style it's going to have, I think these bits are actually visible and not structural, so I can go inside there. It's going to have you know, weird patchy paint and lots of if you look at something in Borderlands like a vehicle or something, it's got these little like bits where they've obviously, it looks like they've taken a piece of metal and shivved it on two other bits to make them stick together, almost like a sticking plaster but made out of metal. It's going to have lots of those painted on, little sort of slivers of stuff. And it'll have on the floor will be a fin funnel, or a mortar, let's say, an open one and a closed one that have maybe they've either not been installed yet, or they're just being fixed or something like that. So one of the backpack fin funnel things will be only have one in it, because the other two will be on the floor. Quite looking forward to it. I was debating whether to attach it to the display base with magnets, which would have worked, but it would have been a heck of a lot of work, and I suddenly realised I didn't need to, because what I actually did was just I've cobbled together a little bit of acrylic rod going up into the foot, which does just as good a job at magnets and is actually a bit more stable because it anchors it in place. So that's that bit done. Not too fussed about edges so much if I'm not catching the edge with the shade, because again there will be the ink edging. It will have ink edging all over it, ink outlines. Again, if you're not familiar with it, go and look at any, say, a vehicle or character from Borderlands. You'll see what I mean. I'm thinking not Borderlands 3. And if you look at stuff, screenshots from Borderlands 3, which is out this week, it's getting a lot more realistic and a lot less stylized. There's like a character might have millions of little outlines on it now. I'm thinking more Borderlands 2, where the outlines were less obvious, but there weren't as many. They were simpler. I'm going for that. If you want to know exactly what I'm going for, if you've not seen it on my channel, there is a playlist. If you go into playlists, there should be one from a few weeks ago where I painted the Games Workshop Warhammer 40k Ridge Runner as a bandit technical, and that's the kind of effect I'm going for. Okay, so that's those bits done. I've done those. I've got to do those, and then there's more yellow after that. There's more yellow after that, and then I might get to some red today. So I'm going to just give the brush a rinse and have a quick look at the chat, have a swig of the coffee, and then we'll crack on. We've got more to do. More to do. Lid discipline. Right, let's have a quick look at the chatting. I was going to move those around. Quick look at the chatulations. We have... Are you taking a day off for Borderlands 3 tomorrow, Fox? Asked Kenneth M. No, I'm not taking a day off, but I'm waiting for the reviews to come in. I don't know. I want to see. Here's the thing. Borderlands 1 was just the best thing ever, and I loved it to bits. I adored it. Borderlands 2 was good and good fun, but I didn't enjoy it as much as Borderlands 1. There's something different about it. But primarily it's because they didn't have any decent combat rifles, but so I enjoyed it, but I'm like, don't know. And then like Borderlands the pre-sequel, it's terrible. It just bored me. I was like, oh god, I can't play this anymore. I know that was a different studio. That was Gearbox Australia, and the other ones I can't remember who they were now. But I know it wasn't the same people. But so I'm sort of waiting and watching. I will get it, but whether I get it day one, or maybe if it doesn't float my boat massively, if reviews are all like it's all right, then I might wait till it's free with Games with Gold, because it's a lot of money. So I'll see. I might get it. Having said all that, I'll probably just get it anyway. But I do know if I get it now, I'll sit and play it for a week and not do any work on this. So that's the other thing. I need to not be distracting myself while I'm trying to get on with George's at Sazabi baby. So we'll see. I probably will get it, but I don't know when I'll get it. Cannon says Macadee should give little SD Sazabis away in Happy Meals. That'd be quite good. There should be a double McSazabi burger or Sazabi shaker fries, says Tim. I want McDonald's now. Shut up. Shut up. Team Inept. Hey, Paul. Paul's in from Team Inept. He says 97% of statistics are made up. And the other 3% are wrong. I should paint the Sazabi Ver Kevin as the burger lad, says Cy Reynolds. Do you mean the McBurger? The McBurglar? The one that steals things? Burglar from Burger King. Oh no. Wait, what? I've lost now. I'll move away from that one. Kenneth says to Paul, hey Paul, you're handsome and awesome. To Paul at Team Inept. Skullfish is in. Skullfish. Skullfish. Appreciating yellow with pink is fun. Produces a gorgeous rich yellow, says Cy Reynolds. I kind of did a little bit because when I painted these, primed these first in Mephisto red and then primed them in grey sear. The grey sear wasn't a massively thick coat, so it was still a little bit of red showing through. You could see a little bit of pink. So it might be a little brighter than bog standard Avalanche Sunset, but I don't know yet. I like pre-shading blue with orange, give a really nice grey. Ooh, I like the sound of that. Kenneth and Cy both know their things about painting, so if you ever take advice off Kenneth or Cy, of course, as we all know, he doesn't blow his own trumpet, he's a Golden Demon winner. So, yeah. If Cy gives you a suggestion, you just take it. And Kenneth's an awesome painter, so if Kenneth gives you a suggestion, yeah, just take that as well. Both of them are just outstanding painters. Doodaloo. Paul Di Tomas says, man, I'm bored, there's a lot to be done around the house, but I have no interest to do any of it. Then you should not do any of it. Do things that's not boring instead. Eat food and watch this programme. Space Hamster says, I think I'm going to do some airbrushings right about now. Prepare myself for all the white spirit fumes I'm going to inhale later. White spirits, are you working with oils or enamels? Have you tried instead odorless oil paint thinner? It actually doesn't smell. And it's equally usable with oils or enamels. Just so you know. Let's have a look. Chris is back. Welcome back, Chris. He's still at work, so he'll be just popping in every now. When they've not got a customer, he'll be sitting there watching on his iPhone or something. George says about the Shanghai Dragons, they were really bad last season, but we had enough time for a second season to come around and finish. They got better. They still have the worst losing streak of any professional team, though. Yeah, but that just makes them awesome characters, though, doesn't it? Tim says, yeah, the first season was really bad. Better now for sure. At least they have the award for worst losing streak and best improved team. Lol. Are you worried about the paint being thicker from brush painting it when you're assembling it? Asks Kenneth. That's why I'm not actually putting any shades on the insides. At the moment, it's just it's two rattle can coats and an airbrush coat, so very, very thin. I've obviously got a lot of paint on the inner frame. I'll probably have to be taking some paint off the inner frame parts to make, grooves go into slots and things like that. But that's why I'm not doing a lot of, say, shading and stuff on the armour parts, because I want to try and avoid that, specifically for that reason. What I will be doing, though, is as I put things together and sweating cobs and panicking, is I will obviously remove any paint from any necessary pegs and holes or slots and grooves, anything like that. I'll make sure they're scraped free of paint, because a lot of the armour covers up most of the inner frame anyway, so it should be fine, hopefully. Beyblade Master asked the question, which is impossible to answer. Anyone know how to do a plane model? That's kind of saying, you're kind of asking for every step of model making from opening the box to having a finished model, really, there. Kind of a big thing to ask. Yes. Everyone can help you. The best thing I can say is it's not something somebody can answer in a sentence of typing. It's something you can answer by watching lots of YouTube how-to guides. I would suggest, for example, obviously my stuff. Hey, hello. All the stuff I do, although I do a lot of Gunpla and Warhammer, all the stuff I do is equally approachable and applicable to, planes and anything else. So for general techniques and stuff, all the stuff I do is perfectly fine. But there will be channels that you really want to look at. I'm trying to think of one now. It depends what kind of plane. Are you talking like a modern shiny jet aircraft, or like shiny civilian plane, or are you talking like World War II plane that's got some weathering or some damage, or it depends what you're talking about. I'd just say YouTube it. There are so many tutorials. That's not something. I didn't mean to sound snarky. It's just not something somebody can answer. It's like saying, "Does anyone know how to paint an oil painting?" You can't answer that. It's the kind of thing, though, that it's been filmed. I'm trying to think. Somebody in chat suggests some channels that are top notch, like aircraft painters. I mean, if it's World War II aircraft, look at Skipper Ted's channel. Obviously, Skipper Ted did the big Airfix Typhoon, the Tiffy. He did a build series on that. But yeah, you want to be getting on YouTube for that. It's not something you can answer in a chat. Not so average builder. Well, everyone, I've got to get off here. My boss will be here soon. Well, thanks for coming in, amigo. Much appreciate it. Oh, here you go. I got some decals for a Malaysian Air Force Hornet from a raffle. Oh, okay. So it's a modern jet aircraft. Yeah, there's things you can do. It's out of my league because I don't do shiny things, so I can't possibly tell you how to do a shiny aircraft. I wanted to use those on a Hornet model for IPMS. Kenneth says, thank you, Fox. That was nice to say. Plasmo is for planes. Oh yeah, Plasmo. That's a good channel. Planes are like any other vehicle. The weathering will be the main difference to, say, a tank, as you have to account for wind, turbine scoring, etc. Sorry for the vague question, says Blake Master. No, it's fine. There's no such thing as a dumb question. It's more just a case of some questions you can't answer quickly, so we'll try and push you in the right direction. Plasmo is amazing. I second that. So yeah, go and check out Plasmo on YouTube. That's the name I couldn't remember, actually. What did I miss? I've been helping my dad in the garden for about 15 minutes. I've done some shading. And now we're going to do more shading. That's kind of it, really. I shall have a swig of the coffee. One thing I will do is I shall get my back scratcher, because I've got a itch right on my shoulder blade and I can't get near it. 1 second. Oh, it's better. Oh, that's good. Ooh. Hit the spot. Mama Fox got me that for my birthday last year. She went, it's a bit rubbish. I've only got your little rubbish present. Turns out, you know what it is? It's actually the best present I've ever been given. It's actually the best thing I've ever had bought for me. It's a back scratcher. Telescopic back scratcher. I don't go anywhere without it. It's the best thing ever. The best thing anyone has ever bought for me. Cy Reynolds says, also, you must make plane noises as you build it and fly it around your modelling desk at least 10 times. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, but there's no such thing as bad questions. It's quite common that somebody asks a question like, you know, an open-ended question like that, and it's not a problem at all. It's not anything to be, you know, oh, I'm sorry about that. Don't be daft. There's no stupid questions. All questions are valid questions. Some just require a little guidance. Can't be answered quickly. But never be afraid to ask a question. Not ever. Tape and putty will be needed for a plane. Yep. Even the best of plane kits will require some finagling to a certain degree. Even if it's just something simple like hiding the seam down the fuselage, down the spine of the fuselage, because most planes come with a 2-pot fuselage. So it's kind of common that you'll need at least either some sprue goo that you've made yourself or some modelling putty if you prefer that. But yeah, Plasmo is a good channel. I'm trying to think of some, because I'm not a big plane guy, so I don't know a lot of channels that do that. But yeah, have a look around. Kind of looks like a bit like Iron Man a little bit, that, but not really at all. I'll shut up now. Diddle-oo, diddle-oo-doo. So we've got the bottom of the feet here. And like I say, these are going to be yellow because Diva and Shanghai Dragons colour scheme. Now, when the yellow parts are finished, they will be a lot brighter than this. They'll be more like the yellow I'd done on... In fact, it'll be exactly the same process, pretty much, as I'm doing on the Angry Marine. But hopefully, what will happen on this that is not what happened on the Angry Marine, that everything just got all textury. Because I don't know why they got so textury on the Angry Marine. So there we go, that's that. Just get rid of any pooling. Space Time said, my considered opinion as a school teacher my considered opinion as a school teacher is that there absolutely are stupid questions, but this wasn't one. I bow down to your knowledge. Yes, yeah, there are. I suppose there really are stupid questions, but yeah, that wasn't one of them. Anybody, I mean, then again, valid point. Just go and read some Yahoo Answers. Yeah. Jesus. In fact, don't go and read Yahoo Answers. I don't recommend it at all. There are many things in life I recommend, but going to look at like not so much Quora, because that's usually fairly savvy, but like Yahoo, where you post a question up and people answer it. Dear God. Some of the questions on there, you look at them and it's like, how do these people remember to breathe without someone jumping up and down on the chest? It's terrifying. I don't know. Yes, no, that was a fine, perfect question. It was a very good question. If you don't know much about plane models, you don't know if your question is specific enough. So yeah, Plasmo. Go and check out the Plasmo. Oops. It's kind of interesting though if Beyblade has won some decals in a giveaway or raffle, what have you. It's kind of interesting because then it's sending him or her, I don't know, but sending Beyblade off in a direction they haven't done before, and it's nice when that happens. You know, when something that you had no control over or intention about sends you in a direction. For example, Beyblade winning some aircraft decals, and he's like, brilliant, now I need to go and get an aircraft kit. It's weird that a prize was the decals but not the kit. That's very strange. So yeah, so now it's sent him off in the thing of going and looking at actual kits and finding out how to do an aircraft. I mean, pretty much if you've done GUNPLA Beyblade, then I'd like to think of GUNPLA as just aircraft with legs. So if you've done GUNPLA and painted GUNPLA, you can paint an aircraft. You can paint it however you want. There's not that much difference at all. You can make them shiny, you can make them a little bit weathered, you can make them really weathered. You could do a diorama with it crashed and burnt out and destroyed if you wanted to. If you've painted other stuff, apply the same techniques. Especially with weathering. If I'm doing weathering, I look at the model and think, what is this made of? How does it weather? How does the material weather? It's not that there's a specific kind of weathering for tanks and there's a different kind of weathering for planes and for cars. It's more that you have a kind of weathering for steel things that go through mud. You've got a different weathering for steel things that work in the air. Or you've got different weathering for aluminium things that work in the mud. Or weathering for stone things. It doesn't really matter what the thing actually is. Because it's the same elements and the same weather conditions. But yeah, it's nice when something like that happens and it sends you off in a different direction. Like, you know, I never would have started getting to GUNPLA if I hadn't been commissioned to do the heavy arms way back when. You know, somebody requested a commission. Do you do GUNPLA? I want this, and I'm like, I have no idea what the hell that is, but it looks cool as. So I'm gonna get into it. So I took the commission and absolutely fell in love with it. But you know, if that person hadn't contacted me to do that commission, I never would have done a GUNPLA. I didn't know what GUNPLA was. I didn't even know that Bandai made models. I knew Bandai did games, video games, Bandai Namco, but I didn't know they did models. I'd never even seen Bandai model before. And yeah, boy, did that kind of worms open. Yeah, was that a Pandora's box? You know, before I did that commission, that first GUNPLA, let's get rid of that excess. Before I did that first commission, my opinion of snap fit or push fit kits was the same as most people who have only ever been exposed to the crap that Revell put out. They're push fit kits which are absolute dross. You know, you get them and you're like, wow, these don't fit, they're terrible, they're awful. So they just look like childish nonsense. And building that first Bandai kit totally blew my mind, opened my eyes completely. I'm like, wow, you mean actual snap fit kits cannot be terrible and be actually some of the best things I've ever made and also great fun? It's amazing. And it reinvigorated me a bit because I've always said I'm a painter, not a maker. I enjoy the painting and weathering. I don't really enjoy the building side of things too much. It's just sticking things together. It doesn't interest me at all. Which is why I don't do a lot of scratch building, because I find the building side boring to me. It's just not what I want to do. So to suddenly find that here are these Bandai kits that look incredible and take away 95% of the tedium because they're just push fit. I'm like, oh, wow, I need fresh trousers now, thank you. I may have just done a little bit of a sex wee or something. Wow, it was amazing. So, yeah, that was cool. I'm not thinking I'm going to do anything on the inside. There's a bit too much on there. One last piece for this bit. Little bit of back of the kneecap thing there. Here's a question for you. You got your kneecap, yeah? On your knee. You got your knee there, and you got a kneecap. What's the back of the kneecap called? The bit that's concave, not convex. On the other side of the kneecap. What's that called? Is there a name for it? For the inside part of the kneecap, like the other side of the leg. The other side of that joint. What is that called? Or is it just still part of the kneecap? Oops, apologies, ding the camera. Move that out of the way because it's... Right, where's that string going? Hang on, I've got to adjust my camera string. Oh, come here. Get up there, thank you. Nah, do well. Right, so let's get the lid on there. We'll have a quick look at the chat. That's them done. So I'm going to put them all to one side. We have a couple of other bits to do. They're going over there for drying purposes. We've got some little bits here. Have a quick look at the chat. Doodle-doo-doo. Let's have a look. Kenneth said the Valkyrie is a nice looking plane kit. Yes. I have a Macross to do. Damn, Borderlands 3 Diamond Loot Crate Edition comes with a bunch of miniatures from the various characters and a model kit of a spaceship from the game. Oh, don't tell me things like that. I've got my MOT in a week and I can't afford anything like that. Just, no, don't tell me. No, I wouldn't. No, I've fallen for special editions before. I've got the Halo 3 cat helmet. I'll just get the game. No, I mean, what I'll do is, if I will get the game. And it'll either be, if it gets lots of rave reviews, I'll nip to Tesco's and pick it up for like 35, 40 quid. Because Tesco's seems to be like 10 or 15 quid cheaper. I never buy a brand new release game through, say, Xbox store. Because they're like 50 quid. Even when everybody else is selling it for, a £5. What was it I saw the other day? It was like Borderlands. Just the original Borderlands was like £17.50 on Xbox Live. It was like £2. £2 for a used copy, or like £6 for an unused copy. I'm like, yeah, no. I'll nip to Tesco's and get one. Or Asda, they're quite cheap sometimes. But I'll just get the basic game. I don't need all the extra nonsense. But if it gets hair reviews where people are like, yeah, it's all right, then I might just hold off for a while. I've got my MOT next week, so that's far more important that I pay for my MOT. I get the feeling I'm going to have to pay for some repairs this time. So, yeah. So that's next Monday. So I'll worry about Borderlands next week, I think. Speaking of questions, says Cy Reynolds, what's on your bench and what's in your belly? Dad, you're slacking. Or unless you fell asleep because of the chill out music. Yes, what's on your bench? What is in your belly? So, what are you working on at the minute? And what have you had for your dinner? Or what are you going to have for your dinner? I don't know what I'm having for dinner. Don't know yet. But I'm hungry. I've had an apple today. I'm trying to shed the belly a little bit. So what I'm doing is during the day I'm having I get an apple, nice green apple juice, and I'll slice it up into slices and I'll just nibble on that for 10 minutes. I'll take little bites because it's like it gives my brain the feeling that it's eating a lot of food because it's crunchy, but I don't. It's just an apple. And then when it gets dinner time, I'll just obviously fill my face with all the food. I'm losing weight a little bit. Beyblade Master says, thanks for the help, guys, and yeah, looking at Plasmo's channel, it seems really helpful. Going to binge it after my CETs. Yeah, there are lots of other channels out there. I'm struggling to think of some of them because I say planes aren't my thing. There are a few other channels out there that are really, really awesome. But for general techniques, again, don't forget, for example, like I say, my stuff. There's a few GUNPLA channels as well. Watch all the GUNPLA channels where they do any kind of custom paintwork, because often, again, the techniques for actual doing stuff are the same. It's just what techniques you use on a specific subject. So just watch as much as you can. Answers are compulsory, says Simon, about bench and belly. Thy Crate says, alright, Fox, gotta go. Soon is there going to be a stickery giveaway today. I'm going to be doing one later in this show. What time is it? 4:30. But I'll probably come back this evening anyway and carry on with the second stream. So if I don't do one now, I'll do one this evening. So don't worry. This is a good opportunity to show what coffee staining is when applying washes, Fox. Oh yeah, that's an idea. Well, I can't because I don't want to ruin a piece. How can I do this now? Do I have anything I can use as a sacrificial lamb? Yes, I do. Hang on, I'm just getting a thing. There's the figure, by the way. That's the figure that's going to go with this build. I think it's Kira Yamato. I think it's from a 1/100 scale no grade kit, but I think it's Kira Yamato, but I'm not sure. But that's the figure we're going to use. It's not going to be painted to look like Diva. It's actually going to be painted to look like a generic member of the Shanghai Dragons. It's got a very specific plan for the outfit. Okay, I'm going to sort... I know what I can do. Yeah, I'm going to sort of sacrifice a little bit. This is the base for this model. I've got my acrylic rod for the actual Gunpla, for the mecha, and I've got a little wooden rod for the figure. When it's talking about coffee staining, what Kenneth is mentioning, I always say, if you're going to... When you're using shades or making washes and things like that, if you want to make your own shades... you want something that, if you want to dilute a shade, for example, or if you want to make your own wash out of, say, inks, it's better to use a glaze medium to dilute your paint and not to use water. And there's a very good reason for that. Let me just get some glaze medium. Glaze medium! Okay. Now it's not really, it probably won't even work at all, but let's just wing it and see what happens. This is going to be painted over, so I don't mind getting it a bit scrooshy. What we can do is we can get ourselves and brush. Let's find a brush. Brush. Where is the brush? This probably won't even work at all. I bet there'll be no difference at all. Everybody will be like, "Well, I don't get it." Okay, so I don't know what this brush is, but it's ridiculous. So if you want to make your own shade and you're thinning paints or inks, or you want to just thin a shade, what you can do is get some glaze medium and get yourself your shade of choice. So I'm going to get some Agrax Earthshade on here. That's one brush full of Agrax Earthshade to 2 or 3 brushfuls of the medium. And what it will do, this will dilute the shade so it becomes more transparent. If I just do, if I just do Agrax, doesn't it? Okay, here's Agrax Earthshade by itself. That's Agrax Earthshade by itself. Now by adding it to a glaze medium, you can see we've not made it lighter. I've got stuff on my hands. We've not made it lighter. We've not changed how it works. It just looks more transparent, so you can see what's underneath more, and it looks lighter. So if you were doing, say, if you wanted to put perhaps, for example, like a dirty look on something, but also go into the recesses and darken it, but you don't want it to be too dark. You don't want to put too much on. You can thin it with some glaze medium. Now the other alternative is to use just water. Have I got some just water? Let me go and swap my water out. Give me 1 second. I'll get some clean water on the go. Hang on. Wow, could I have walked into any more door frames as I went through the room into the room? Good God. Bouncing off door frames. So, however, yeah, what we can also do, if you want to, you could thin it with water, but if you use water, you're thinning it, you're not diluting it. I'll get some water. Let's get some blobs of water. Some decent blobs of water. Wow, I can't actually get any water in this brush. It's like, surface tension is making it into a big ball. And then what we'll do is we'll get some of the Agrax Earthshade. Oops. Put it in there. Now, it probably won't work at all. But what you see is, do you see how the water is, it's kind of moving around. It's got this surface tension. It wants to bead up. Let me just get that brush dry. Now, if you look at the medium's not doing that. The medium behaves completely different. It's a little bit, but not quite the same. And what you'll see is, if I brush this away here, so all the pigment's piling up on the corner, it will slowly work its way back. But where there are little gaps, it might not come out on camera. When this dries, it will be a nice subtle sort of shading. You'll have a little bit less pigment here and more pigment there, and it'll be very subtle and soft. It'll look almost not airbrush, but it will look smooth, and you can move it around like this. And it's designed to sort of go into corners and recesses and have a nice self-leveling sort of finish. With water, it's not doing any of that. The pigment just sits in the water, kind of fairly uniformly around. But if this was on a surface, it wouldn't necessarily want to conform to a recess. It would just go wherever you put it, and then it would try and go back into a blob. It's the surface tension of water is beating up. And when this, I mean, I haven't got time to show it now, but what you do is, if you were to paint a whole thing, if you were to just take a model and paint it in this, just carelessly with a big brush, it would dry a little bit patchy, but it would look okay. If you did it with this, the same kind of dilution ratio but thinned instead of diluted, it would look, you'd have that kind of coffee stain where you'd have rings, you'd have tide marks where, you know, maybe the water's flown away, and as the pigment's evaporated out, you've got like a line of pigment. You don't get that with the shade, because this dilutes the shade. And you can do it with paints and inks as well, same thing. A glaze medium dilutes the pigment. So you've got X amount of pigment in your shade, you add X amount of glaze to it, glaze medium, and you've still got the same amount of pigment. And it behaves exactly the same way as it did before, because you're just diluting, you're adding more of the carrier to the pigment. With water, you're breaking down the chemical bonds, you're breaking down the way the acrylic binders work, and you're physically changing the makeup of the paint you're using, so it goes from a shade to a wash, and it just behaves differently. So if you are, I'm just going to tissue that off now. That's not going to dry in time to show you, but I'll put it to one side and see what happens. But yes, if you are, that's the difference between thinning and diluting. Diluting is where you diluting is where you make the paint more transparent. You're not thinning it, you're just making it, you're increasing the ratio of the non-paint stuff to the pigment. And thinning is where you're literally just changing the physical properties of it. You're breaking it down so it behaves totally differently. So thinning has its place, you know, for pin washes and things it might be useful. But if you can, if you're trying to do if you're literally trying to do a shade layer, you want to do it with a glaze medium, and it doesn't have to be the Lamian medium. Vallejo do glaze mediums, and so do others. Let's have a look. I thought you looked thinner, Fox. Your bracelets look looser. I've had to adjust me watch because it was getting off fall. It was. Thank you very much, Kenneth. By the way, it was kind of it was falling off my wrist. Let's have a look. Right. I've got to catch up. Beyblade Master said, on my bench is a 1,000-word position paper, and my belly is pork belly. Oh, pork belly, yes. Tim L says, questions aren't stupid as they are questions. A lot depends on the person you're asking and how stupid they are to assume the stupidity. Lol. I love any question type. I'm just crazy. Paul Di Tommaso has various kits on the go and some chocolate bars in the belly. Beyblade says, after some image searching the plane, is it really that dirty since it was repainted for the Hornet's 20th anniversary? You can do it then if you want to, as literally straight out the showroom kind of look, which is just kind of clean. For that, you might just want to use might just be like paint it as you want it, and then use a very, very subtle pin wash for the panel lines just to make them have a little bit of depth, and that might be it. Or you could just put a bit of wear and tear in it. You might just have a bit more grime and dirt. It's been used a little bit, maybe. There'll always be like grease and grime around pistons and components. Like if you look on the landing gear where you've got any pistons or moving parts that have been oiled or got lubrication, they'll always look a little bit grubby and grimy. The paint job on the exterior panels might look clean, but when you get the mechanical stuff, that's always going to look a little bit grimy because it's got oil and grease in it. Spaceham says, bench Skaven Clan Rats. I must do some Skaven at some point. Skaven Clan Rats, Maschinen Krieger, Lunar Gans, Zoids Berserk Führer, all at the same time. Belly, I'm hungry. Tim L says, knee cup. I don't know what that means. Distill, is it one of those medical terms for backside? Distill. Bench says, Kenneth, Honda NSX, ball tank, and a 1/4 scale Predator fighting Alien Queen. Yes, it looks fantastic, that. You've been doing that for a while. Belly, it's too early to eat. Oh, it's never too early to eat. Knee rump, says Kenneth. Cy Reynolds says, the proper anatomical term is the popliteal fossa. What are we talking about? Have I forgotten what I was talking about 5 minutes ago already? Popliteal. Oh, the back of the knee. Oh, yeah, I've got you. The back of the knee, the popliteal fossa. Okay, that makes no sense. The popliteal fossa. Fossa, I like that word. Fossa. That's like the animal. There's an animal called a fossa, isn't there? I guess no stickers for me today. See you then, guys, on Sunday. Okay, thy creator. Well, sorry, dude. Well, maybe you can come back later. If not, you'll win some on Sunday anyway. It does look like Kira Yamato, says George. It does a bit. I think it is. I can't remember which kit it came with. It's some of the old no-grade kits. The 1/100 ones, just all 160 scale ones, just came with like this fun little figures. Oh, not even on camera. Fun little figures. So I think it's Kira Yamato. It's got a backpack on it. But so yeah, I've got a paint scheme in mind for this. So there you go. Anatomical terminology. The popliteal fossa, sometimes referred to as the huff or knee pit in analogy to the armpit, is a shallow depression. Wait, hang on. That's not an arm. What's that bit called then? That's your elbow. What's this bit called? What's the inside of the elbow called? There you go. There's the next one. What's that bit called? That's not the armpit. That's the... What's that bit called? There you go. Tim L says, oh, everyone got to go. Have fun. Stay safe and take care. Cheers, Fox. Thanks for coming in, Tim. Much appreciate it. See you again. Never thought of it as a knee pit, says Tom. I'm doing stuff and listening. Had to get done moving laundry into dryer. George says that Bench is taking a rest while I recover from messing up my last model. Belly is a fruit smoothie. George posted a picture up in a chat we're in saying he was going to strip this Warhammer miniature because he wasn't happy with the paint job. It looked fantastic. It looked awesome. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to strip it and start again. And we're like, wow, I wish my screw-ups looked that good. George has come a long way. He's had Simon's help. He's had a bit of help from Simon, but he's come a long way, George. Kenneth M. Every messed up model is a lesson learnt. I spend more time stripping paint than painting some days. None of us come anywhere near close, though, to Chandra from the Boom Hut, who we haven't heard from for a while. But Chandra from the Boom Hut strips a model like 6 times. She paints a model beautifully and then goes, I don't like it, and she strips it before we've had a chance to say, wait, no, it looks great, and it's repainted. The cubital fossa or elbow pit is the triangular area on the anterior view of the elbow of a human or other hominid animal. There we go, the cubital fossa. Excellent. So the cubital fossa and the popliteal fossa. I like that word fossa. It's great. It's like the word fossil. I love the word fossil as well. It's just brilliant. Raging Basis says, I've got a pack of Nolzer Marvellous Miniatures Mimics if you fancy a palette cleanse. I would love to, buddy. I've got so much in my backlog at the minute. I'd hate to take it off you and then not make it for like 6 years. I don't even know what Marvellous Miniature Mimics are. They're Nolzer Marvellous Miniature Mimics. I don't know what they are. You're more than welcome to if you want to. I'd say I'm probably not. I'm going to be painting my Warhammer Conquest for the next 2 years. Massive. Sai says, everyone knows it's actually called the weenus, though. I don't know what that means. I'm not gonna. I've just walked into that one, haven't I? Moving on. Right, what's next? Oh yeah, more. Weenus. Ew, look at that in there. Something's gone wrong in there. Why have I got explosive leakage? Ew, that doesn't sound right. Why have I got non-corporeal explosive leakage from my... I've obviously shaken it before it was properly... Hang on. I don't need to do this, but I'll do it anyway, because it's Dad's device. And... words. Dungeons and Dragons mean I've got 2 painted another pack sealed, so yeah, I've got mimics for days. I mean, yeah, you're more than welcome to, dude. To send me. I mean, people are more than welcome to send me anything they want. But I don't want people to be offended when they send me a fantastic model and then I don't paint it for like 4 years. I've got stuff. I've got Joss Rogers sent me a High New Gundam Master Grade like 3 years ago, and I haven't even opened the box yet. I haven't had a chance. I am massively backlogged at the minute. Because once I've got this done, I need to do the Master Grade, the Perfect Grade Millennium Falconum for E-models. That's the next build after that. And then once that is done, I don't know why I'm cleaning this out. It's a paint holder. It doesn't matter if it gets covered in paint. I don't know. Once I've done that, I've got like 70 issues of Warhammer Conquest that I've not even opened yet. So, yeah, once the Millennium Falcon's done, you can expect the next year and a half to be pretty much Warhammer Conquest. Sorry. I've got loads of Gunpla that the people have sent me, though, that I need to do as well. Is a mimic a chest with teeth? Now, folks, people call the inside of the elbow a weenus. I'm not. I'll put them in the post next week. I think I've got your address hiding in an email, says Basis. Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. I really do. If not, give me a shout. I've noticed that the DeAgostini X-Wing issue 1 is back out again. A few people have asked me what's happening with the DeAgostini build, the Millennium Falcon. Millennium Falcon. And for anybody who doesn't know, I shall lay out the facts. Here are the facts. About 4 months ago, I was contacted by a PR company called Smart Brands. I think they're in Spain. I'm happy to name them because they've obviously just screwed me over and messed me about. A company in Spain called Smart Brands. And they said, hi, look at your stuff, it's really good. Would you like to do a collaboration on the DeAgostini build the Millennium Falcon? So I looked it up and I looked them up and I looked at the Falcon thing. And I build the X-Wing. And I'm like, okay, well, it looks like there's probably it's just a Spanish PR company doing some work for DeAgostini. That's fine. I'll go for it. Yeah, why not? I'll be happy to do that. It's £1,000 worth of model kit. I'm not going to say no. So I said, okay, just to clarify though, I mean, do you want to send me just 1 or 2 issues, or do you want to send me everything? Because I'm not going to be subscribing to it myself. I can't afford to. It's £1,000. But if you're talking about the whole thing, then sure, I can plan and make time in my schedule to do that and film episodes. That's brilliant. Like, yeah, it'd be everything. Fantastic. So about a week or 2 later, I got a package with the first 3 issues, which was interesting because the 3 hadn't come out yet. First 3 issues sent from a company down south in England somewhere that make packaging. I don't know who the hell they were. A company that makes cardboard boxes and bubble wrap. I was like, why are they sending me this? Okay. So I got that and I was like, brilliant. Did the first video, and then pretty much heard nothing at all. And I'm like, okay. So I mailed the guys a few times at this PR company and said, hey, is this still on? Because I'm not had anything else yet. And Chris, by this point, Chris is obviously subscribed to it. He's actually physically subscribed, and he's had the next issues. So he's like, oh, we'll look into it. And I said to him as well, while you're also on, do I actually have an account at Diag? Because if I ever have a problem, I need to obviously contact them and say, hey, here's my account details. And he said, yeah, we'll get all that for you. And then I never heard back from them. So eventually, after 2 months down the line, I actually mailed them back, and I mailed DeAgostini separately and said, right, here's the situation. This company contacted me, asking me if I wanted to do this collaboration, do this video build series. They said I will basically be just sent all the issues over the course of the subscription period, free of charge, and I get to film it. Can you confirm that this is the case? Because I haven't got any information to tell you as to if I'm even on your system, how it would work. I've got no idea. And I got a reply from both of them because I did it on Facebook, just saying, we'll look into it, thanks. And then about a week later, I got a package from DeAgostini this time. I'm like, right, we've had some. Now I'm actually getting packages from DeAgostini, not some cardboard box manufacturer down south somewhere. And it was issue 1. And I'm like, oh, I've had that one. So now at this point in time, I've got no idea what the hell's going on at all. I don't know if and I haven't heard anything else since then or received anything else. So I don't know if I am going to receive any more issues. My suspicion would be perhaps that, or my hope is that DeAgostini were like, look, we can't find anything for this guy in our system. I don't know what Smart Brand have been doing, but we'll just set up an account for him and we'll subscribe him. There you go. Because I got the welcome to the subscription letter. So I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I haven't heard anything back from either of them, other than I received issue 1 again, which is neither use nor ornament. Issue 1 and 2, I should say. Apologies. Issue 1 and 2. So I don't know what's going on. I would love to be able to say, yes, I'm going to be doing the whole build. Because it was actually a real good thing, because you'd be getting like 1 or 2 magazines a month, and what I planned on doing was just getting the thing built first, not doing any painting, anything like that at all, until we'd had all the issues. And then once I had all the issues and everything had been put together, I could go in, I could disassemble it all and repaint it professionally, give it a proper Star Wars paint job. And I think I was supposed to be getting all the extra bits that you get if you do like a top tier subscription or something. So I think, and that was my plan, just to do that. But now I don't even know if I'm going to get the next issues. If I do, that'd be brilliant, and I take it all back. If I don't, sorry guys, there'll only ever be one episode. Like I say, it would have been handy for me because I hadn't intended on subscribing to it myself anyway. It's £1,000. That, you know, I'm not that rich. But also, it's £1,000 and I don't have that much time. I've got a lot of other things. I've got my Warhammer Conquest. I've got these builds to do. I've got loads of stuff I need to be doing. Now, it would have kind of fit in because, like I say, it would be literally each month. I could take one day out each month and just film the let's see what we've got this month and build it episode. That would be fine. I could do that. It's not like Warhammer Conquest where I need to film a proper full paint video for the figures, which is what I'm going to be doing from now on. So that's a lot of work. But with this one, it could be like, we've got 6 pieces this month. I'm going to stick them in. There you go. I've screwed them in. Done. End of. There you go. That's it. And then a couple of years later, then I can go ahead and paint it. So yeah, if I do receive more issues, we'll carry on with it. I'm hoping that's the case. I don't know if that is the case though. I've just got no idea. So we shall find out. Getting paint into these little thruster bells is a pain in the bum. I need to use a smaller brush. Should we just use a smaller brush? Would that be a good idea? That'd be a good idea. Team Inept says, there is an irony in you not completing yet another D'Agostini part work. I know, because I mean the Millennium Falcon one, all the parts and magazines are in a cupboard waiting to be done one day. But with this one, it's just a case of I've just not had anything. I don't know what's going on. I need a brush. I need a brush to do the smaller brush now for shading. Shading. Where's for smaller brush? We'll do that one. There we go. We'll do one of these base brushes. That'll do. Yes, it will be another Diag I've never finished. I hope. I don't know. My hope is that perhaps D'Agostini have said, screw it, we'll just subscribe him. Just get him subscribed and we'll you know, he'll just get on with it. We'll honour it. Because I did say to D'Agostini, this company that contacted me, are they actually legit? Or is this just, have I somehow been given my name and address out to some shady company? What's actually going on? Because I assumed they were legit, but now I'm like, why is a Spanish PR company contacting me? So we'll find out. We will find out. No doubt. I would like to carry on with it. Because it'd be nice a couple of years from now. Because my entire intention, like I say, with it is, it's £1,000 worth of stuff. My entire intention was to get it built up over a few years, which is maybe a little bit of a day's work a month, just to build the bits you get. Then later on, when I've got time, paint it up, get a video build, get a painting series out of it, and then just sell it for several thousand, because that'd be nice. It's £1,000 worth of kit, and I'd probably put how many hours into painting it. I could sell it for several grand. That'd be quite nice a few years down the line. If not, it's not a biggie. But you know, hey, I'd just like to know. Just like I said to D'Agostini, I said, look, if it's not actually going to go ahead, I'm not going to shout at you. Don't worry. If you don't want it to go ahead, that's fine. I understand. I'd just like to know so I can, you know, sort my schedule out. If I need to not invest any time and resources in this video build series, I'd rather not waste any time and resources. So we shall see what happens. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Now, I'm not actually going to do too much painting on these. These are the beam sabers down here, but they're going to be in the arm, and you're not going to see them, so I don't really need to worry about them too much. I'll get the big brush out again. But yeah, the Millennium Falcon, dude, there's aside from this cockpit tube that I built, all the issues are still packed up and sealed, and they're in a cupboard. For one day when I've got a work area that's bigger than this. Because this work area here is just far too small. It's nowhere near big enough for that big boy. I didn't kind of realise it until I'd got the cockpit done. I'm like, dude, the cockpit takes up my entire workbench. I can't fit the rest of this kit on here at all. It's not going to happen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I thought I had a thruster bell missing them. It is indeed, said Raging Bassist. It is a low-level creature that diseases itself as various things, being chest being the most common. I thought I kind of vague, because I don't know D&D that well, but with a Mimic, I thought it might be like a chest or something. I think part of that is Terry Pratchett as well, informing me of that, but... there are some awesome Mimic chests out there with massive teeth and tongs. I'm getting a Squig vibe, if it's all teeth and tongs. Dip the thrusters might be easier, says Kenneth. Nah, I'll be fine. I've done it now. Smaller brush was the trick. At least I want you to get past episode... wow, I'll say all that again with words. At least I want you to get past episode 6, it says Raging Bassist. Me too! Ghost Lyle is in and says, pineapple, 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 pineapple. There we go. Just in case you're wondering, now you know pineapple, basically. So I'm going to move these out of the way. Let me put that over there. That can go there. I'll put that there over the side. How are we doing in chat? So how is everyone? I'm going to have a swig of my coffees. Nom, nom, nom. Coffee happiness. Coffee happiness. Right. That's all the yellow bits now shaded. What I think I will do is, to avoid having to get all the new bits out, because if we start on the red, I'm going to have to start getting red things out and finding sticks to put them on, because all the sticks are in here. I think what we can start doing is a little bit of dry brushing. Yes, get started on that. I'll put this over there. I'll put yon fella man back on his base. Right. Let's do some dry brushing. Yes. Need to get a lot of tissue going on now because it requires all the tissue in the world. Now I think I've got enough Avalanche Sunset left. I think. Yeah. I had 2 pots. One was purely to make some thinned paint out of. And the other one was my half empty pot, which I think I've got enough for. Dishan F says, not actively watching since I'm at work, but this makes great background noise. Awesome. I will be your aural wallpaper. You'd be surprised actually how many people don't actually, even I, you tend not to actually watch this kind of live stream. And this is what always amazes me, that people watch these kind of things, these kind of like, you know, live painting things, because I've tried myself to watch people doing live painting streams, and for more often than not, you might be actively engaged in listening to the conversation, but to watch somebody else paint, sometimes you do find yourself looking at other things like surfing the web or reading something else while you're listening to it. It does end up being, you know, like just a wallpaper. I don't mean like say Chris's stream, because obviously if I'm involved in the chat, I'm involved in the chat. But if it's just a stream I'm watching and I'm not in the live chat or anything, yeah, it's just more. It's more background. I can listen to it without watching it. Right, dry brushing times. Now for dry brushing, I'm going to dive into my glass of old brushes. These are old brushes. And we're going to use the good old standbys. We have the old, used and somewhat fluffy base brushes. Kenneth M. Have to jet. Have a great afternoon. It's been good to catch a stream. Be safe, people. Thank you very much for coming in, Kenneth. I really appreciate it. See you soon. See you soon, hopefully. I'll be doing a few of these, so feel free to pop in anytime. I'll be doing them throughout the week. Yes, so dry brushing. When you get your base brushes and they go a bit fuzzy on the end like that, and they're not quite got the point anymore, don't throw them away. They make brilliant small dry brushes. So I've got loads of those. I keep them all. Don't ever throw... unless a brush is completely flocked and absolutely knackered, it's not worth throwing it away, because there's always a use. Like this one, that one's a bit rubbish. That one's a bit too explodey. I'm going to get rid of that one. But that one's a bit too explodey. But these are absolutely fine. Let's have a look. See, that one looks like it's still got its point, but it won't. As soon as you put paint on it, it kind of goes fuzzy. So we also have some of the Dale Rowney graduates, which are very, very nice little dry brushes. Very, very nice. That's a base brush. That's no use. And there's another one there. I've got the Army Painter small dry brush. I've got a goodly collection of brushes I can use for all dry brushing type purposes. Many, many. I'll put that back over there. Many, many brushes. Right, so let others do. When the flat brushes really splay, I just snip the ends off and get a stiffer dry brush, says Team Inept. Yeah, you can. That's when they tend to become stipple brushes then, which is quite handy. Make good stippling brushes. I like a nice stipple. Nice. Moving on. Okay, so there we go. That we've got a good selection of sizes there, because some of these are like got big flat areas. I don't recommend trying to like dry brush a big flat area with a small brush, because it becomes like just soul destroying. But also I don't recommend trying to dry brush a small area with a massive great big brush, because that becomes a bit stupid. So for example, this side brush is just right for that, but is that fully dry or is that still wet? Yeah, it's dry. So there's the bit we did earlier on. That's got the nice, now you can see there is a bit of a sort of what would considered a watermark there, but it's just a bit of a, must be a fingerprint on there or something. That's fine, but you get these kind of like shadowy areas where the shade does pool and edge, which is fine for what we're doing. But if you did this with water, that would have just moved around and you get like watermarks all over. It would be horrible. It wouldn't behave the same. I love my Army Painter brushes, and they're cheaper than Citadel, says Raging Basis. They certainly are, and they are really, really good. I do have the Army Painter, that's coming off, the Army Painter Mega Brush Set in my Amazon store. If anybody wants to pick up a set of Army Painter brushes, which are awesome, and help out this channel at the same time. This is going to be annoying now, it's going to come off, isn't it? At the same time you can help out this channel, then please consider following the link in the description below this video for my Amazon store, the Guru Hut. It's lots and lots of useful tools, paints and brushes and all kinds of things that you can get on Amazon. If you're in the UK, by the way, this is. Because it's an affiliate link, so it helps out this channel. While you're getting yourself some good stuff, it also helps me out massively. So if you need to pick some stuff up from the Amazons, have a look at my Amazon store. Okay, so that's going to be, I think it's going to be too small. I think it's slightly bigger, but we'll persevere. So it's just dry brushing, get the paint on the brush, get most of it into the bristles, get most of it off. And then let's work our way around, shall we? And we work in small circular shapes. I'm not doing an edge, I'm not trying to pick up the edge, I'm going in small circles, because I want to make the blending soft. I also want to cover up any potential brush marks. This brush is not doing it for me. Let's put that brush there. Let's go for the round base brush. Earl D, hi Fox, welcome Earl. Earl is in. Welcome, buddy. Looking funky, he says. It's looking like I can eat it. It's like very cheeseburgery, isn't it? That's better. Now again, remember I am going for, I keep saying we all the time. I'm going for a Borderlands look, so I want some slight patchiness to it. This is going very slowly. So I want some slight patchiness to it. I want to get a certain look and feel, and this is perfect for that. Oops. Which is one of the reasons I'm doing is a lot of this is brush painting and not actually using a lot of airbrush work. Not only because some of the paints I want are just, it's a pain in the arse to get them airbrushable, because they're Citadels, but also it's a certain look, and like I said at the start, the Borderlands look and feel is kind of comic booky, not so much cel shading as comic booky. It's inks and watercolour kind of feel, and that's not something you can easily reproduce with an airbrush, but it's something you can reproduce if you're careful with shades or washes and dry brushing and manual techniques like that. So if we're lucky, we'll pull it off. Now you can see it is a slow process. You can see why I want to do this live stream and hang out with you guys. It is a slow process. And all I'm really aiming for here is to soften the edges of these blobs of shade. I'll show you on this bit. So the blob of shade there, and that one there. If we do little gentle circles, get a bit less paint on there. Little gentle circles. we can fade them away without getting rid of them completely, and we can fade them away so they fade. They don't just stop and start like there. It now goes from a dark patch into a light patch, but gradually. It doesn't just go dark light. It fades in, and that's what the little circles do. They help you build up the little sort of fade and transitions quite nicely. Now, I may have to go with a big brush for some of these parts because this may take an entire lifetime. Let's have a look. Si Reynolds says to Earl D, "You're a machine, bud. You've already cranked out the new Gundam." He says hot dog from that angle. Yeah, that's true. Si says he's going to send Earl his Sazabi of his. It'll be done in a day. Yes. Earl D is Boom Hut member. Dennis. And if you... him and John Bias are just like vying for the top position of who can build the most kits a month. Because Earl D is like, I'm going to start this kit, I finished it. And they look fantastic, you know, they're beautifully painted. It's like, I don't know how you do it. It takes me a year to do one kit, and yet you're just churning these things out. It's insane. Right, I'm going to rinse that off. I'm going to go for a bigger brush. So although the smaller brush does give me a bit more control over the blend, I do actually, you know, intend on having it finished before I die of old age. Yeah, so we'll put that there. We shall fold that tissue over. We'll get another piece of tissue. I'll find my tissue. There's my tissue. Don't get rid of the exploded brush, Fox. Cut it down. Stippling brush. Yeah, I've got a load though. I've got a load already. Get out of the bag. Hang on. Yeah, I could do something with that, I suppose. I'll put it back in the cup of shame. Right, I'm going to put the tissue there because I may need lots of it. Doodle-doo. I'm thinking of finding a new hobby, says Snowman. Why? Why? What have you done? Who have you upset? Hobby and Happy Jason. Hello. Hello, Hobby and Happy Jason. Welcome. Alright, let's try this again. Try with this brush. This is one of the... This is the Wargamer small dry brush. I mean the Army Painter small dry brush. It's a bit bigger. There, it's a bit better. So I want it to look patchy and a bit unkempt because it's going to be well used, it's going to be worn, and I want to try and get some unevenness. All the little marks and things that you can see, you won't see any of those. Once all the outlining's done and once we've got some, not just paint chipping, but some paint wash chipping. I don't really know what to call it. It's like doing paint chips but with a very thin wash. So you get a very specific effect where you actually want watermarks. I'm having a right problem with these. Right, dudes, I'm going to pop out, get my last tips packet from my last job and swing by Goblin on the way home to spend them. Haha. No worries, dude. Have fun. Say hello from me when you go. Tell them I sent you. Don't really, because I didn't. In fact, yeah, tell them I sent you. Write down my code for my Goblin affiliate link. Only joking. Yeah, tell them I say hi from me though. Right. Let's go for the big boy brush. Let's go for the big boy brush. LD says, new hobby, become a ventriloquist. Never even saw your lips move when you said that. Who said that? I'm going to go with a bit more paint on the brush, just to speed the process up. Not that much paint. Spoon. That's a bit better. Now, I'm not trying to basically get it back to the original Avalanche Sunset, but I want to get at least a bright patch in the middle somewhere. And sometimes it's just a case of having a bit more paint. Will do, Fox. Catch you in a bit, says Raging Bassist. Thanks, buddy. Reese Models, Reese RGC Models. Out Fox, out Reese. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Skill level or lack of one, says Snowman. Nonsense. Everybody starts somewhere, dude. The only way you get from A to B is to walk from A to B. It's a journey that's worth taking. Because if you don't take the journey, you never get to stop at the hamburger shacks on the way, do you? And where's the fun in that if you don't stop at the burger vans on the way? I've got to tell you, one of the nicest smells in the world has to be the smell of a burger van. I don't know why it doesn't smell like any other kind of food place ever. They just have their own unique sort of onions and burger smell that instantly makes me want to go and give them all my money to get all the food whenever I go past a burger van like that. I don't care, you know, whether they're good or bad. It's just like that smell makes me want to give them all my money in exchange for edible goodness. So you can see here that little wiggle line where there was almost like a watermark. I'm actually quite liking that. It's quite a nice little sort of random effect. I'm actually going to leave some of it showing because it's nice. It just looks like if you actually take time to go and look at, say, industrial equipment like JCBs and diggers and things like that, or trucks and vans, you would be surprised at some of the things that you actually see nature do. So don't be really, when you're doing weathering and stuff, don't be too stuck in what you think your end result is supposed to be. Just kind of go with the flow. Have a basic knowledge of how weathering works and, you know, how shading stuff works, but go with the flow a bit. Turn the brain off. Don't think about it and just see what happens. And sometimes little happy accidents happen like that. And it just looks like something. Now, I mean, I've sat and looked at the back of a truck before now, and noticed that there was a streak down the back of the truck. There's like a shutter door on the back of this van. Okay, so you've got this shutter door on the back of the van, and there's a big grubby streak coming off one of the hinges, or one of the little things at the top, where obviously a gunk has been washed down by the rain. So you've got this streak going all the way down the door. But the thing was, this is what made it funny, was if the... I've got a piece of tissue. If the shutter door was like this, so there's the back of your van, there's the shutter door, the blind shutter door, square door, and the streak, can't do it, I've got the paint on the brush, the streak was like that. It went at a funny angle, because for whatever reason, when the streak had occurred, the van had maybe been parked on a curb like that, so the streak was like that. And I sat there and I thought, if I painted a model, if I weathered a van exactly like that, if I did this van exactly, weathered it exactly to look like the real thing, everybody be like, that weathering is rubbish. That's not how weathering works. Look at the streak on that. It's a stupid angle. They just ruined it. But I would know that that's exactly what that looked like. So when you're doing any kind of weathering, or, I mean, this is not really weathering, but it's sort of weathering a little bit. A little bit of it does end up looking a bit like weathering. So whenever you're doing stuff like this, understand what you're trying to reproduce. It makes sense to understand how weathering works, and, you know, how streaking occurs and what causes it, and, you know, what gravity is and how gravity works. All that kind of stuff. It pays to have that knowledge, but at the same time, you know, don't restrict yourself. Use them as a guideline, but not the actual rigid frame. And that's how you get happy accidents. Happy little things that happen. You go, "Ooh, I like that. I've never planned for that, but that's brilliant. I like that." And that's why when you see me do my work like this, I've had people say, like, you know, because they'll watch some, like, skill level Japan builder sit there and spend months and months working on a single component, and, you know, like some guy who will spend a week painting and weathering one single Zaku bead. And people do that. There are people out there that can spend 6 weeks just making the head because of the complicated paint jobs, you know, and the weathering and stuff. And they look at my stuff, and I've had people say to me, "Dude, how do you see these people doing all this complicated, and you're just like slapping paint on and wiggling a brush around, and you're not even making the effort. You're just kind of slapping it on and slap it on and doing it half-assed." And I have to say to them, no, not at all. I'm doing different techniques. the technique I want is to have a worn and used look, but I want some naturalness to it. I want to have some randomness to it that I can build on. And I'm just lucky enough that I can do that quickly. Oops. And it comes out well. I will freely admit I am very, very lazy. Not because I'm lazy because I can't be bothered making the effort, but lazy because I have a very short attention span, as in I've always been this way. I get bored of something very easily, even if it's something I really, really love and I really want to do, and it's the best thing in the world, and I don't know which bits I'm going to dry brush now. Okay, this is going to get confusing. Even if it's something I really, really want to do and I've been looking forward to for ages, and I love every minute of it, and like this, you know, it's George's baby, and I will take my time with it. I still have the issue where my brain will be like, I'm bored now, can I do something else? Something sparkly will come along, and I know this, and I can't avoid that. It's just the way my brain works. So it's important for me to find ways to do things that don't take me 6 months, because I will just give up the will to live and be like, I'm bored now, go and do something else. I've lost that thigh again. There it is. Yeah, we'll go off and I get bored. And if I get bored, that compromises, I need to find a peg, that compromises the quality of the work. So I'm constantly on the sniff for ways to do things that give me the result I want easily and quickly. Just trying to put the stick back in this thigh. Apologies for a second. It's not that I can't be bothered. It's not that I'm trying to get out of... I forgot that bit. It's not that I'm trying to get out of doing anything. It's that I know my limitations. I know how fickle I am. And how hard it is to motivate myself. And I need to make sure that doesn't happen. And I'm not the only person like that. There'll be lots of people like me that are like that. So I like to show people, the whole point of my channel is to show people that there are ways to do things that you don't have to be a skill level Japan builder to do it. You don't have to spend 6 months building and painting something to come out with a model that looks fantastic that you can be proud of. Because those kind of skills do take years to develop and do take a lifetime to hone. But there are ways you can do it now without, you know, that level of experience. In a way, it's my own shortcomings help me to teach people who are new how to do things easily and quickly to get good results, to motivate them, because the idea is that you learn my quick and easy techniques, you get some good results, you're really happy with your work, and it motivates you to carry on and do more. And then over time, you'll eventually start learning the more in-depth techniques and go off and fly by your own power. Then you'll leave the nest. And that's the thing. I've never claimed to be skill level Japan at anything. I mean, there's people in the boom hut who are vastly superior to me. There's people, you know, like for example Kenneth, who a couple of years ago he'd barely done anything model making, and now he's better than most of us. And it's nice to see that, because that's what I aim to do, is to give people a simple foundation that anybody can do for them, and they can either stay at that level if they want. They can absolutely stay at that level and they can be happy with the work, or if they want to, they can go off and learn even more in-depth skills. I don't purport to teach the in-depth professional level stuff, and I never call myself a professional anyway. I just aim to get people enthused and happy and making nice things, and then I expect them to go off and find out more things. It's a bit like Bob Ross, really. You know, Bob Ross was never going to teach you how to paint like an old master. You know, Bob Ross used quick, down and dirty and simple techniques with a palette knife and a brush the size of a house to paint a tree or a rock. And although professional, proper artists would sit there and be like, yeah, this is like a monkey painting on a canvas, they'd be looking at it and be like, what the hell is that? At the end of the day, his intention was to get people painting who would have never thought about painting before, and who would have sat there and thought, I can't paint, there's no way I can paint that. And then he goes, except you can, because I'm painting it like a spoon. Here you go. There you go, done. It's a tree. There, fantastic. That took me all of 10 seconds, and you can do that as well. And I'm kind of the same. I'm teaching you the simple techniques, the easy ways to do things. You know, it's like never in the history of anything has ever anyone bought their first model kit and tried a candy paint coat. No, it's not how it works. Nobody buys their first ever paint model kit they're going to paint and a load of paint, and they try their hand at saying candy coat or something like that. No, they don't do that. They start with something simpler. And I have to remember as well, a lot of people that I'm teaching maybe can't afford all the top of the tier stuff. They only have a few paints and bits and bobs. So, for example, me doing a lot of brush painting like this, some people can't afford an airbrush. So at least I can give them ways to do things. So yeah, I never say I'm a brilliant painter. I never say that. And I never would. There's people in the boom with far more skill and talent than me. There's people I know with far more skill. There's people who watch my stuff who've got far more skill and talent than me, and I don't know why they watch my stuff, because I ain't learning much. And yes, my techniques may be shortcuts. They may be simple ways of doing things. But you know what? I'm happy with the results. And if it gets someone enthusiastic and makes someone think, I can do that, and then they paint their first model, then that's my job done. That's my entire job done. That's all that matters to me. Right, so we've done 4 in, what, an hour? Yeah, this is going to take me about a week to just do the dry brushing. Then we've got... Okay, here's the plan. I'm going to take a quick break for a swig of coffee and a talk with you guys. Here's the plan with this. Here's the long-term plan. It is a long-term plan. I've basically got a mobile suit, a simple diorama, a little bit of photo etch I need to build, and a figure to paint. How long is it going to take me? I reckon about another 12 weeks. Because we've got all the armour to dry brush, and I've just done, what, 4 pieces in about 45 minutes or an hour or something. Bearing in mind I'm talking to you guys as well. But even normally, I'd probably take a little while. So I think it's going to be... The rest of this week is going to basically be dry brushing the armour like we've been doing today. Once that's done, I've then got paint chipping. So I've got to paint on the paint chipping. Now, it won't take as long, but I still reckon that'll be a big chunk of next week. Paint chipping. Once that's been done, we've got gloss varnish. Decals, maybe a gloss varnish, I don't know yet, maybe gloss varnish, but then we've got decals. That's going to be a day or two, not that long, a day or two maybe. Then we have, once that's been done, we have the weathering. We've got some weathering, that won't take long. Weathering's a day, maybe 2 days, depending on what I decide to do. Once that's been done, we've got then the ink outlines. Now, inking, it's going to take me a while. It took me about 8 hours to ink the Bandit Technical, or the Ridge Runner, the Warhammer Ridge Runner that I did the other week. Go and look on my channel. There's a playlist for it. That took me 8 hours just for one little car that big. The inner frame for this is like this big, and it's like 4 of those little cars. So I think the ink outlining for this is going to take me about a week. Again, it's one of those things that, because doing the ink outlining is such an intense job, a very careful, delicate job, that I really can only do it for a few hours before I have to stop and take a break and maybe stop for a few hours, go and do something else. Because it's not like doing this dry brushing, which is like, yeah, I can sit here and talk to you guys and stuff. It's kind of a no-brainer. But the ink outlining, it really is a case of, it's so scrunched up and intense and tense. You're all tensed up painting delicate lines. That's going to take me at least a week, I think, if not more, because that will be a case of 3 or 4 hours, and then I have to stop, just maybe for the rest of that day, because I can't do it for more than 4 or 5 hours. It would explode my brain. Once the inking's been done, we're still not finished. because then I have to assemble it. Then I need to paint the base. Now the base itself I can probably do in a day. Get that painted up in a day. That's just lots of messy fun. Then we've got the figure. That might be 2 or 3 days worth of work, maybe, to get the figure painted. But then there's decals on that, and then of course the ink outline on the figure as well. So maybe a week for the base, diorama base, and the figure. And then a few days for the extra bit I need to make the photo etch stuff. So I'm probably thinking it's another 3 or 4, maybe even 5 weeks, if not more. It's a lot of work to go. It's a lot of work to go. I didn't really think about it much until I started getting the frame together. I thought, oh, this is a lot more outlining than I thought there was. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm enjoying it. And when I start doing the outlining, I will absolutely. When I did the outlining on that little Bandit Technical, it was great fun. It was stressful. I need to clear my throat. Hang on. That's better. I'm going to give myself. Let me turn the microphone off. Hang on. There we go, it's better. Ooh, sorry about that. Yeah, it took me 8 hours, and when I'd finished, my back was stiff, my neck was stiff because I'm looking down. I've got my space. I'm looking at it like from that distance. I'm like down this painting on the desk. My knees were stiff because I've been sat at my desk for 8 hours straight almost. But I loved every minute of it. It was great fun. It was easier than I thought. It worked beautifully, and I was like, this is fantastic. So I am looking forward to it. I'm not lying to myself about how long this is going to take, how much work to be involved. And given my my lack of ability to stay interested in something while I'm doing it, I'll need as many distractions as I can. So I will be doing more of these shows. I may even do one later on tonight after dinner. We'll see how I feel after dinner. But yeah, for the dry brushing, for the decals, I'll do some live streams while we're doing all this dry brushing. So over the coming days, I'll be live streaming a lot. For the decals, definitely, that's like, even if it's just a day, I'll hang out because I can do decals and talk to you guys. For the chipping, yeah, we'll hang out. For the outlining, I'll do that off camera. And the other thing to keep in mind is I've got to film all this as well for the video series on Patreon, so I need to make sure I leave one of these undone so I can paint it. So yeah, but we'll do a lot more of these hangouts. But let's have a quick look at chat. Let's have a look. Ascension Industries, hey guys, just saw the stream was on. Welcome, Ascension Industries. Reese says, good to see you too, mate. I'm not so bad, thanks, mate. Yeah, I'm about an hour behind now because I've been doing stuff. Good. How's the new job, Reese? Reese recently sadly lost his job, but then got another job pretty much straight away, doing the same thing for somebody else, so, or for more money. It's always better. Faisal is in. Hey, Faisal, how you doing, matey? Reese says, the smell of a burger van is the whole reason I'm turning the Mark II Transit into one. Yeah, Reese's been making a Mark II Transit, but he's making it out as a burger van. He's been doing it for a while. He's cut out the back and he's got like all the stuff. It's I'd actually stopped thinking about burger vans, but now you mentioned that, I'm thinking about burger vans again now, and I'm also instantly hungry. I had to pop out yesterday, and I drove to the local village and was going through the local village, and as I got to the traffic lights, all I could smell was burger vans. I don't know why, there's no burger van there, there's no fare on or anything. It was, all I could smell was like hot dogs and onions and burgers. I'm like, oh, and I was dead hungry. I had to get home, and I was like, right, we're having McDonald's for dinner, I don't give a crap, but we're having McDonald's and not care. I was starving. Guns Down in Hale is in. What's up, dude? Welcome, Guns Down. Half-assed as much as that, says Paul. That said, you've seen how fast I can paint a bus when the mojo strikes, can churn one out in a couple of hours sometimes. It is scary. Sometimes it's if I've got exactly the right mood on, I can get a lot of stuff done very quickly. Like, you know, you watch the eModel stream where me and Chris and Ted did the little, what do you call it, the little Meng chibi tanks, and we only had 4 hours, but you know, I pre-primed mine, but you know, it was painting, priming, weathering, but it was a really simple paint job, but that was great fun. And I can sit there and I can paint a figure in a day. You know, I can sit and paint a Warhammer miniature in a day. But the way my brain works, it is so fickle. I know it's so fickle that I can start painting, and for no reason, no fault of my own, no reason that's discernible, my brain can go, no, I'm bored. And I can be like, oh, so I have to kind of fight through it sometimes. And it's just the way my brain works. It's not that I actually don't care about the thing I'm building. Like I say, this is for this thing for George. I'm doing my absolute best work with this because this is for George. George is a patron. He's been supporting me, and this is absolutely important that I get this done for him. But even at some point doing stuff on here, it'd be like my brain would go, right, I'm bored now. Let's go and play Xbox, or let's go and get some food, or let's go and watch some program on telly. And it's like, no, I'm my own worst enemy. And I've always been that way. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Whether it's something I don't care about or something I'm really invested in, my brain treats it the same way. And it's really annoying sometimes. It does get me down sometimes. I am skill level Japan at waffling, says Paul. There is that. I can waffle. What was it? Mama Fox can talk the back legs off a donkey. I can actually get the thing to get up and walk off again. So, yeah. Eon's car is in. Hello, everyone. Did not know Fox happens to be streaming. Yeah, it's an impromptu thing. I put a thing up on the Boom Hut and stuff, but only like 10 minutes before it went live. And YouTube doesn't tell everybody. Make sure, if you're not already subscribed, obviously why? Make sure to subscribe. This is to everybody. But if you've not hit the notification bell, I need to clear my throat again. Hang on. Swig of coffee. Turn the microphone off. Hang on. Microphone off. Oh, God damn it. Do you know, my voice was much more reliable when I was a smoker. Jeez. Give up smoking for a year and now I'm hoarse all the time. If you're not already, if you're subscribed, brilliant. If you're not subscribed, do become a subscriber. But make sure to hit the notification bell. If you go to my YouTube homepage, it's right there next to the subscribe button. Sometimes on a video, it's next to the subscribe button. The little notification bell, hit that. That means that theoretically, whenever I post a new video or start a live stream, you'll get a notification telling you I've gone live or I've posted a video. It doesn't always work, but it should do. Guns on the Hell says, I get it, I'm painting mine in parts. I finished the legs and that was a month ago. Yeah, I mean, I have days when I'll sit there and I'll be a build that I really want to do, and I'll get to the bench and I'll be like, I just want to play Xbox now. And I've always been that way, and it doesn't matter, like I say, whether I really care about something or whether I don't give a crap about it. Sometimes there'll be something I don't care about that I monster through it like a crazed person and get it done really fast and enjoy it, even though I didn't want to do it. And then sometimes there's something I'm really passionate about, and I'm sitting there going, I think it's an age thing. I don't know. Yes. Paul is on a roll. He says, I never say you're a brilliant painter either. It's like having my own personal Statler and Waldorf, but in single person form. Faisal is doing the Reborn 100 Yagged Doga and painting it metallic. Awesome. I like the sound of that. I've got my Giara Doga that was gifted to me. I need to do that at some point. There's another thing I need. And my Kshatriya. Too many things. Snowman says, next month I will have been building and painting Games Workshop a year. Happy birthday next month to your building thing. But yeah, don't lose hope. I've always said, look at other people's work for inspiration, but never look at other people's work for validation. What I mean by that is, if you're just starting out, and trust me, a year is just starting out. I know people that have been doing it for 20 years and they're still finding their feet. I'm in it for 35, almost 40 years now, and I'm still finding my way around. I've only been brush painting for 2 years. But yeah, look at other people's work, steal their work for ideas. So look at if you're painting, let's say you're painting a thing, go and do a Google search for that thing and look at other people's colour schemes and paint techniques. Watch videos of people painting it and think, I could do that. I could use that technique. Steal their ideas, steal the technique. If it's just for painting it for you and it's going to go on your shelf or be in your army if it's a miniature, nobody cares if you completely rip off somebody else's paint job. Nobody cares. Doesn't matter. You're looking at what they've done, you're taking the ideas, you're figuring out how to do it. If they show you how they do it, then you're using their ideas. If you're doing it like, as a professional thing, like say you're doing, say, a YouTube video, then yeah, you don't steal someone else's paint job or paint scheme. But you learn from it, you get inspiration, you look at that, you look at somebody's work and think, I like that, what if I did it a different colour but did this? And look at other people's work for inspiration, as a source of inspiration, as a source of ideas, as a way to learn how they've done things, if it's a YouTube or a blog that tells you. But don't ever look at their work and think, I'm not that good. Because at the end of the day, a lot of time, if I walk into an operating theatre and start heart surgery on someone, they are going to die within seconds. But then I'll stand back and I'll look at the heart surgeon come in and go, person's alive, there you go, 10 more years of life. And I'll be like, wow, I'll never be that good. Of course I won't. I've not done 10 years of medical school. I've not been a surgeon for 30 years. That's the whole point. You've always got to start somewhere. If you sit there and look at somebody who's been doing it for decades and think, I'm just going to stop because I'm not that good. I can't be that good. then that's the wrong way to do it because of they've been doing it for 30 years thing. No one can do something without learning how to do it first, and that's the fun, is learning how to do it. One of the main things I would say is, when you're starting out, whatever you work on, keep it. At least keep, some of the first things you've built and painted, and put them to one side, and then a year later, come back and compare them to the things you're painting now, and you'll see a massive difference. And then a year after that, go back and compare them again. You'll see. But don't ever think there's like it's not like leveling up. You don't go, now I'm level 10, woohoo, I can paint eyes. You don't ever think that you stop learning, because you don't. As I say, I've been doing this for 40 years, and I've only been learning brush painting for 2. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. I constantly look at people on YouTube and in blogs and things like that and go, God, I wish I was like that. When I fall foul of it, I sit there and go, I'll never be that good. But I've learned over the years to say, I'll never be that good. And then I go, well, actually, no, I could be. I just need to know how to do it. So there you go. Don't get disheartened because you think other people are better than you. You're just learning. If you're just starting out, you're just learning. What's more important is that you surround yourself with people who are happy to teach you and are happy to foster that talent. And that's why I like to set up the Boom Hut, because everybody knows that when you start out, your skill level is ass. Not many people start out skill level Japan, trust me. I mean, there are people that do that, and it's like, wow. There are people that get that good that quick. Like I said before about Kenneth. Kenneth's been doing this for like 2 or 3 years, and he's gone from like nothing. Which end do I point at which end of the brush do I point at the model to like skill level Japan, kind of. It's like, in a way, I'm totally jealous, but in another way, I'm kind of really proud. So, because it's me and other people that sort of, that he's watched and he supports that have given him the tools and the learnings to do that. And that's why we do this. That's why I do this. That's why I set up the Boom Hut, to get people to say, look, you're just starting out, you're going to look like, your stuff's going to look like ass, but don't worry. That passes, and we're going to show you how to not make it look like ass. And again, that's why I focus on simple, easy techniques that aren't super complicated. A, because I'm lazy, and B, because it's the best way to learn, is to learn through the simple steps. You don't learn how to maintain your car. The first thing you do when you learn how to maintain a car is not strip the engine and rebuild it completely. You learn how to, change the oil, and you take it from there. So don't be disheartened. It'll be 2.5 years for me building and painting GW, says Eon's car. It's been fun learning, Snowman says. He also says he prefers the Death Guard. Now I know how much to thin the paint, says Eons. They're kind of all saying the same thing. I'm behind on the chat. Sai says, it's all practice, to be honest. Hell, I showed some of the guys my first model last week. It's horrendous. It would look better if I dunked it into a pot of paint. Ree says, yes, the new job's not bad. Good to be employed by the NHS. It took me 16 years to win anything at a painting competition, says Sai. Not that everyone wants to do that, but the point is, it took a hell of a lot of time. That's the thing. I mean, it's very rare. It does happen, but it's so rare that, like I said, somebody starts out at skill level Japan. It can happen, but don't count on it. You have to count on doing the work. Some people are naturals and learn very fast. Some people, it takes a long time, but at the end of the day, it's all about learning. Edwin RSA is in. Hello, everyone. Welcome, Edwin. Let's have a look. Just unpainted the Primaris Marine from Conquest yesterday, says Jan's car. I'm so behind on mine. Just for those that don't know, by the way, that's all on hold at the minute while I'm doing this and I'm doing the Millennium Falcon. When those are done, I'm going to get back into the Conquest, but I'm going to change the way things are going to... I was going to do, if you remember before, I was like, here's how you paint it in the magazine, and then later on I was going to repaint them all. Screw that. I haven't got time now. I'm going to be 8 months behind. When I get back from doing the Falcon, I'm just going to paint them. I'm going to say, here's this month's issue. Here's the 4 magazines. Let's paint them properly. I'm going to paint them properly and film that, and then that'll be the episodes. So I'm going to throw the how to paint like in the magazine out the window, because at the end of the day, I suddenly realised you guys are all capable of reading the magazine and saying, paint this thing black. It's black. There you go. There's no point me spending 3 days editing and producing a video to say what the magazine does. So we'll be doing proper paint jobs. Expect a lot of Conquest for the next couple of years. Let's have a look. Common Road Junction, hey. Welcome, Common Road Junction. Okay, Eons and Snowman are talking about Conquest. So I think I'm up to date on the chat. It is 5:34. I'm going to swig of coffee. I think what I shall do is, I'm going to go off and have my dinner shortly and make some dinner. But I think before we go, I shall give away some stickers. So, sadly, Thy Creator didn't stick around. Sometimes I wonder, you know, if Thy Creator and Carl are the same, because they seem to turn up, take me stickers and go on. He always leaves as soon as he wins a sticker. And he always wins a sticker. So we're going to give 4 away today. So we have, let me move this out a little bit so you can see. Where are we? There we are. So we've got 4. We've got 1 for Colin's 5067 Workshop, 1 for Dad's Scaly Models, 1 for me, 1 for Dave's Butcher That Model channel. Remember, a lot of people that watch my stuff, especially all the mods, most of them have channels. Colin, 5067 Workshop, it's a great channel. Dad's got a Scaly Models channel, but he doesn't actually do any filming, but he's got a channel anyway. And obviously Dave at Butcher That Model. Do give him likes and subscribes. I shall get the pen of writing, and we shall do some words. I shall put the word Walnut Whip on that one. I've also learnt if you store your Sharpies like that way up, like with the top in the air, they don't work. If you store them like that, they work. I thought it was running out, but it wasn't. It's because it was stored upside down. So we've got Walnut Whip. We've got I'm going to put the word. I'm going to make up a word. I'm going to make up the word fat potato. I don't know what that means. It's just fat potato. There you go. Fat potato. I'm going to put gimbal on this one. Gimbal. And on mine, I'm going to put the word. I'm going to put the word spam dangler. Spam dangler. There you go. Fox, you spoon, says Eons. Why am I spoon? What have I done now? What have I done now? Oh, you mean with the pen? I know. Right, so we've got 4 stickers to give away. And as always, we're going to ask some questions. So, I'm going to grab, off camera, 1 second, the book that Chris sent me, the Lift the Flap Questions and Answers About Space book. Because he sent me this because I don't know any questions. Now, the problem with a lot of these is a lot of these are like, how do you go to space? I can't really ask that because there's no way for you to answer that without having an essay. So I'm looking through for questions that are have a specific answer like yes, no, or maybe. Let's have a look. Right. Also, I can't get the thing flap open with these gloves on. Hooray! I'll take these gloves off. Like, how many stars are that? I can't ask you that because it's. Let's have a look. Okay. Okay, here's one. Here's one. Let me just get the question first before I. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Right, before we do anything, of course, we're going to do it so the first person to answer the question. I think the chat has just reset itself as well, so it's a good job it's done that now and not earlier. Right, so I've got the chat in front of me here now. We'll go the first person to answer correctly gets the sticker. Now remember, of course, first of all, you see the chat tailored to you. So just because you're first on your screen doesn't mean you're actually first in the chat. It's going to be whoever's first in this chat here, which is the one I've got, which is the YouTube chat. So there you go. Now, before we go anywhere, there's always a lag between the video and the chat at this point, between what you're seeing with your eyes and the chat itself. So before we do anything, I need you to hit the refresh button on your browser and drag the slider all the way across to the right. So hit refresh and drag, refresh and drag. I shall have a quick swig of coffee while you all do that. I can't believe today in 3 hours I've dry brushed 4 pieces, but I've shaded all those pieces. Paul at Team Inept says, how do you get to space with a rocket? How do you get to space? Very well, thank you. Okay, so first question. Everybody ready? Juan Ferreira's just turned up just in time, I think, to do some stickers. So ready? We're going to sticker time. Get ready for a question about space. It's a question about the space. The question is, who has stayed in space the longest? Go. Who has stayed in space the longest? Now, whether these questions and answers are correct, I do not know, but I have to take this book as the absolute authority. So if it's not what's in the book, I don't care if it's right or wrong. It's got to be what's in the book. Who has stayed the longest in space? Tom says, US astronaut. Earl says, I got a wormhole in the garden, don't need a rocket. There's a worm at the bottom of the garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo. I don't know where that's come from. Team Inept says Dave Lister. Technically, but that's not the answer I'm looking for. Worm. I love that word, worm. Everybody is violently Googling right now. Remember, I'm going to have to go off what's in the book. I cannot say that the book is 100% accurate. It may not be. I do not know. But I have a name and a number of days. Everybody's Googling. Wiggly Woo interdimensional worm. Man in the moon, says Tom. Come on, peeps. Nobody's answered it yet. Well, nobody's got it right yet. I'll show you a picture. There's a picture of him. Oh, hello. Something opened on my computer. What's that about? I'll show you a picture of him. There you go. That's his picture there. That's what he looks like. It doesn't really look like that. Have you all failed at Googling? I think you're going to have to abandon this one, aren't we? Wow. Obama who lives on Mars, says Earl D. I don't know. Shall I give you a clue? Shall I give you a clue? I'll give you a clue. In Russia, space stays in you. Peggy Whitson. I don't know who that is. Who's Peggy Whitson? Unexpected stream after work. Nice one, says Cynical Steve. Hey, Steve. We're asking... You can win a sticker quickly. We're asking... Who has stayed in space the longest? Who has the record for the longest time spent in space? Finally, we have an answer from J Day, who says Valery Polyakov. Yes, cosmonaut Valery Polyakov. He stayed in space for 437 days. In the future, people will leave Earth on one-way missions, knowing they will never come back. Yes. So Valery Polyakov. Well done, J Day. If you would like to choose a sticker, you've got Collins Festa 67 Workshop with Walnut Whip on the back. You've got Scaly Models with Fat Potato. You've got Gimbal from Dave is Butcher That Model, and you've got mine which says Spam Dangler. So would you like Fat Potato, Walnut Whip, Gimbal, or Spam Dangler? Which one would you like? Which one would you prefer? He says Woot and smiles. We'll all sit quietly now and point at you until you decide which one you want. Cynical Caesar, just in time to not win any stickers. Dude, there's 4 stickers there. There's going to be 3 left. Spam Dangler. You want Spam Dangler. Brilliant. Fantastic. Remember, if you do win a sticker today, as always, all you need to do is send me a mail. My email address is always on screen. It's there, fox@modelmakingguru.com. I need you to send me an email in the title, just say you've won a sticker, and I need to know your name, your real name, your address, where you want it sent to, and also, if it's not the same as your real name, your YouTube name. So if you're like, you know, Bob Dobalina, but your actual name is John Smith, then I need to know both John Smith and Bob Dobalina. Because if, like, you know, if J-Day's real name is Ted Johnson, and he says, hi, it's Ted Johnson, I want a sticker, I'll be like, who the hell's Ted Johnson? So I need to know your name, your address, and your YouTube name. If you're waiting for stickers from me already, I've only got a few that I need to send out. I do suck ass at sending stickers out. You can be waiting for months. It's just the way it is. So don't panic if you don't get it within a year. I will eventually send them out. I put them all to one side and I build them up. But I need you to email me. If you don't email me with your details, I don't send you a sticker. I still have some stickers stuck around that I need people to mail me about. Right, next question. Another space question. Now, here's a question that I think some of you may get wrong, because even I didn't know this. It's a bit of a trick question, but it's not the answer you might think. Are we ready? Right. Who invented the telescope? Who invented the Tescalopium? Go. Who invented the Tescalopicals? I will take a name, obviously. I don't need to know the year, but I'm looking for a specific name. It's not a name you might think of. Jeebus, says Team Inept. Copernicus, says Cynical Steve. No, he did something about the planets and orbits. Model Maker 12 is right with Hans Lippershey. Yes, probably it says, probably a Dutch spectacles maker, Hans Lippershey, in 1608. I used two lenses, one in front of the other. A year later, Galileo Galilei made his own version and used it to study the night sky. The story goes, I know this anyway, because I know random shit. The story goes that Hans Lippershey was a maker of spectacles, and he was in his shop one day. Oh, by the way, let me know which sticker you want, Model Maker 12. He was in his shop one day, and he noticed two young ladies were playing with some of the lenses, because they had lots of lenses. And they were playing with two lenses, and they had one of the girls had one lens in her hand, the other one had another one, and they put them together, just messing about. And suddenly, what through the lenses was magnified, and he could see this. He saw this. So when they'd gone, he tried it for himself. For some reason, YouTube decided that fat potato was a rude word. So Model Maker 12 wants fat potato. Well done. You can have fat potato. Yeah, so he saw these girls playing with the lenses. And after they'd gone, he tried it himself. He put two lenses. It was basically a convex and a concave lens. Because if I remember rightly, the concave lens then rectifies the light from the convex lens and means you can actually look across greater distances with a smaller aperture and smaller depth of field and so on. So, yeah, it was purely fluke. And he did that, but apparently he then didn't do much with it. He took it somewhere and somebody else tried it, and then he didn't invent the telescope, basically. So there you go. That's Fat Potato, is Model Maker 12. See, my mission is to learn you people some science. You need to learn science. Science is the most important thing to know in this world, in this life. Everything else is just bollocks. Science is important. Right. Let's have a look. Okay, this might be an open-ended one. Let's have a look. Okay. Hopefully you can't see that. I just realised near the camera. Here's a question then. I've got to think how to ask this now. Okay, two-part question. Who invented rockets? The rocket is designed to take tourists into space. Who invented rockets? Now, it's a two-part question, so I'm looking for one very specific answer for the first part. Who invented rockets? As far as we know. Do science time, fill your brain with science. It makes you clever and sexy, and people want to sleep with you because you know science. It's all true, that. It's all true. For this first part, I'll give you a clue. I'm not looking for a name on this one. George McRocket. Think about it. Think about it. I'm not looking for a person's name. You might have to. Cynical Steve is in with the Chinese. The first part of the answer. I've got to come up with the second part of the answer now. The first part of the answer is yes. The first rockets were fireworks and weapons. They used an exploding powder invented by the Chinese. Now, interesting fact about that. Well done, Cynical Steve. Let me know which sticker you want. Do you want Butcher That Model or Festa 67's Workshop? That's Walnut Whip or Gimbal. Yes, they invented gunpowder and the rockets, but they used them mostly for festivals. They didn't really actually get to use them for weapons. They never really thought about that. They may have done a little bit, but for the most part, they never really weaponized them, which is kind of weird. And nobody thought about it. Okay, so that's... have we decided which one he wants yet? Which one do you want, Cynical Steve? Walnut Whip, please, Fox. Oh, Walnut Whip. Oh, yes. I've had a Walnut Whip for years. I used to love them. Walnut Whip. It's a challenging food to eat, a sweet to eat when you're a kid. Well done. Send me an email. Same to Model Maker 12 and obviously J-Day. Send me an email with your name, address, and your YouTube handle so I know where I'm sending it. Okay, last question is the second half of that question. So, we know that the Chinese invented rockets. So the second half of the question is, who invented a rocket fueled by liquid fuel? Go. Who invented the liquid fueled rocket? Sounds painful, says Tom about the Walnut Whip. Cy Reynolds is in with Robert Hutchings Goddard. Yes. In 1927, an American Robert Goddard invented a rocket powered by liquid fuel. It led the way to rockets that could reach as far as the space. Yes, Goddard had a lifelong passion to make working rockets. He never actually got them to go very far. He never really got past the early conceptual stages. And of course, later on in World War II, it was Werner von Braun that was then able to properly make rockets that were guidable and flew and reached the edge of space. But Goddard was the first that invented the actual concept of the liquid-fueled rocket. They went up in the air a little bit. So Goddard, yes. So that requires squig, says Cy. I was just about to do that. That was what I was thinking. What I shall do, I shall get my Scaly Models dad pen. I've got to do a squig on a little tiny one now. Oh, God damn it. Right, there's a circle. Hang on. I've got... hang on. I get a big, massive mouth. It's easier to draw with a big pen. I think. No, it's not easier to draw with a small pen. I've missed the foot. Okay, his foot kind of goes off the back a bit. Never mind. I've given him convex teeth. That's not right. Concave teeth. It's all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong. I've also given him enormous eyebrows. I don't know why. It's a rubbish squig. There's a tail at the back. I ran out of space. It's only tiny. Rawr. I'll just put Cy. I know who that is. Cy Reynolds. There we go. If you're coming down to E-Models on Thursday next week, I'll bring the stickers with me. So well done, Cy. So yes, there you go. He's a special squig. He's a very special squig. He's a bit. He looks furry, which is weird. He's a furry squig. So there you go. 4 stickers won. Lovely. Remember to all send me emails. Cy, send me an email anyway, just in case I don't, for whatever reason, one of us doesn't go there on Thursday. My car's in for its MOT. For those that don't know, Ted, Chris and I are all going down to E-Models, my channel sponsor, E-Models, next Thursday, the 19th of September. E-Models in Stoke. Look them up on the internet for their address. If you'd like to come along, you are more than welcome. We'll be hanging out. We are being provided with cake, apparently, and Dad might be bringing some donuts. But do come along. We're going to hang out and have a good time. We'll probably be there from about lunchtime onwards, or thereabouts. But do come along. Pick up some shizzle while you're there. If you're owed an E-Models mug or sticker from the Monday show, you can pick one up. But I do have my car going in for its MOT on Monday. So this is all on the premise that my car is out of hospital and working by Thursday. If it's not, I'm a bit screwed. But yeah, my car goes in for its MOT on Monday. Wish it well. I think it might cost me some money this time. Yeah. So yes, if you want, send me an email anyway, side, just in case I don't make it. Right, give it a big butt, says George Gabriel. I can't draw the butt on it because I ran out of. There's no actual butt space because his butt's kind of here somewhere. I don't know. Man, come down next month when I can be around, says George. He's coming to Warhammer World, George. I'm picking him up, says Cy. Well, there you go then. Yes. See, I'll still meet you at Warhammer World. But yes, MOT on Monday, so wish me luck. Wish me the Fox will be last time we went for MOT. There was some work. It said you really need to get this sorted, but we're not going to fail it this time. Steering dampers and some bits and bobs, and it's like, yeah, don't fail it this time either. Fail it next year, not this year. Oh. Well, I've kind of offered. He kind of said yes. I'll accept a lift off you, Simon. No problem at all. I'll take lifts off anybody if it saves me driving, because I hate driving on motorway. It makes me nervous and I hate it, and I lose sleep the night before. I'm rubbish. But I have to go to E-Model. I have to drive to E-Models because I'm bringing Tony with me, hopefully. Right, so that's the stickers done. It's coming up to 10 to 6 here on Radio Spam FM. 7:45 AM FM. I sound like a radio DJ, don't I? It's coming up to 7 past the hour here on Traffic FM, when I go to the news desk for the traffic. Yes, there are cars on the road and there's lots of people in them. There you go, that's the traffic news. Done. I've been waffling too much. Right, I'm going to go off and get myself some noms. I think it's dinner time for me. So we're going to leave it there. I may come back later on this evening. If I do, I probably won't get a chance to post up on Facebook and Twitter and LO and all the other social medias. So just keep an eye open. Remember, if you're not subscribed to this channel, subscribe anyway. If you are subscribed, make sure you've selected the note or you hit the notification bell. That way, hopefully, if I do stream again later on tonight, If I don't get a chance to post up about it first, you will get a notification telling you that I'm streaming. So do come back later on if you can. I've got a lot more of this to do. Like I said, I've got a whole week's worth of work. I've got so much of this to do. I think we'll be having a few of these streams. If not throughout the course of this week, then going forward anyway. But yeah, we'll have a few more of these. I don't think anybody else streams on a Wednesday night, so we should be fine for later on. But yeah, do keep your eyes peeled. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. As always, just before I go, just a very quick thing. Don't forget to check out emodels.co.uk for your traditional model making stuff. They are a proud sponsor of my channel. Address is in the description below. And of course, Goblin Gaming for your tabletop model making and gaming stuff. Including card games, tabletop games, board games, and of course Warhammer and all that goodness. 20% off Warhammer, or All Games Workshop, 20% off Conflict 47, which is its awesome alternative history World War II stuff, and 20% off Malifaux. Massive savings on everything else, and also massive savings at eModels. Link for Goblin Games in the description below the video. If you want to order some stuff from Goblin Games and save some money, use the link down there, because that's specifically my affiliate link. I actually make some income off that if you order through that link, so do use that link. It helps this channel out massively. And don't forget, last of all, if you'd like to support this channel, patreon.com/modelmakingguru. You can support me directly on Patreon. I depend on my patrons for my income, so I do love them, so do go and have a look. But that's going to do us for now. Snowman HFC is off to go and play some Fallout 76. Cynical Steve says, that was an unexpected result, whilst the paella was warming. I want paella now. I want cheeseburgers, hot dogs, burger van food, and paella and McDonald's. Oh, yes. Anyway, that's going to do us. So, yes, we shall maybe catch up later on this evening. If not, I'll be playing Destiny. But yeah, we'll maybe catch up later on this evening. If not, I'll definitely be doing one of these tomorrow as well. But yes, if I don't see you later on this evening, I shall see you tomorrow. So I shall say until then, I've got some different buttons to press now, because I've got this new stream set up. But I'll hopefully press all the right buttons. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. And I'll say, adios amigos.